Welcome back, chat. Welcome back to the grand final of this little Experimentals Cup being run on this very wonderful weekend, taking care of some unlocks that we want to perhaps see again or not see again. I already saw some divisive opinions about the notorious one, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, right? I'm certainly joined by Ben on the mic and J-Max on the camera. How's it going, man? How you doing? How you feeling?
It's been good, yeah. Anyone who's joining for about an hour and a half ago, we've seen MANDEM in action already in this Experimentals Cup. I was there for that one. It was a pretty confident win against Pint, and they'll be in the grand final now. MANDEM facing off against Epic Gaming over on the other side, which is like, it's kind of the Garda roster with Zams playing. It's kind of a... They've kind of run away with this, to be honest, so far in the group stage, and they've had a pretty comfortable day today with the win over Avalon as well in the most recent round. So it should be a good one for this grand final. But like you say, this is the Experimentals Cup, so it's not quite standard like ETF2 rule set. They're sort of experimenting with the whitelist a little bit. So we've got 3 weapons in this whitelist, which we are not normally having. So we've got the Market Gardener, we've got the Base Jumper, and we've got the Gas Passer. So what are your thoughts on these 3? Do you think they're going to maybe have some impact in the gameplay we see?
Well, the controversial one is always going to be the Market Gardener. People have some strong opinions about the meme spoon. People do not like getting instantly deleted by almost 200 damage soldier flying towards them that they can do nothing about. So that one's probably going to be a bit divisive depending on how many skill spoons we see. Beyond that, though, the other two, honestly, I forget that they exist in the game sometimes. That's how inconsequential I think they are overall. Like, the base jumper was banned when you could spam deployed all the time, which I understand is absolutely hilariously busted, but you can't do that anymore. So now it's a cheeky little thing you can maybe use every once in a while to, throw somebody off. It's about it. And then the gas passer was banned because it was bugged. But I don't know if it still is, and it doesn't even matter because the bug was so insignificant. It's not even that good of an item in general.
Yeah.
So I don't think that one is consequential either. Especially because it's also tied to the Pyro class, which is something you don't see very often at all. So, yeah.
One thing I found out about the gas pads, which I literally only found out today with it, is that you don't get access to it when you spawn in. It has to like charge up, so you can't even just throw it in straight on last round. I do want to see someone use it because that last series in the semi-final, we went the entire time without the gas passer being used, so I wouldn't mind seeing someone use it. But anyway, we're here for map number 1. We're in process. We've got MANDEM in the blue, and we've got Epic Gaming over there in the red. So see if anyone's running anything special to this first mid.
Very curious to see MANDEM immediately having some fun with their lineup here as well. Fancy on the scout on the rollout, and well, Hans is going to be the first to fall on their side as well. And they can't quite get the kill onto Theos either, which they really would have wanted there. It's not looking that good for MANDEM on this mid fight already. They do manage to at least get the rest of their team out of harm's way for the time being. Traded out for both soldiers on the other side as well. At the very, very least, both Grix and Bud taken care of, so it's a consolation, but they still lost the mid for the time being. And, well, they might be able to block the cap, actually, as they're making their way forward, marching forward, going for perhaps an exchange here sooner or later. Ball is getting close to that Uber, he's gonna have it, and if they so desire, this could very well be an exchange on our hands. And just off the back of that bullying, they've managed to somehow get Epic Gaming to retreat to their own choke now.
Oh, the big one for Blank, massive.
Lots of damage too.
Big shots as well. The pipe onto Zams too. Maybe 3 frags going the way of the MANDEM side. Really good re-engagement there is in that mid-fight. Despite losing both their soldiers, they come back in. They come back in flying. So, like you say, Uber still ready to be popped out. Spawner's coming up now for the Epic Gaming side over on the last point. So there's no demo for a moment, which maybe allows a tiny bit of space. But there's a sniper there. There's a gun getting built too. It's going to be hard. But MANDEM, they want to come in through 5 regardless.
They just want to keep rolling this forward off the momentum alone, and it's working so far. They got so much ground on last already. They've also got the frag onto Zam. So important. No demo on the last hold is crucial. They find Haunts on the other side at the very least to give themselves a bit of a saving grace, but the Ubers are popped a little bit earlier for Bald, a little bit later for Theo, so not much to write home about, just a bit of an exchange as they make their way back out. Maybe being a bit too aggressive there. Yalin, that's ambitious on that heavy play, but you gotta respect him trying at the very least. Unfortunately, though, that's back to the respawn queue with the Putus, and you've got the sniper coming up on Hans. So maybe he's making the most of that early death.
Yeah, Blank was going very, very aggressive in through 4 there. And the sniper coming up spells to me that they want to try and slow things down and just think, you know what, we're just going to wait for these Ubers to get built back up again. And yeah, you know, try and open up some lines for this sniper, try and get something working in. But Blank going so far, and Inso and Fancy also both gone down. Ooh. So maybe this slow play with the sniper is not going to work out too well because they're going to have to sit really passive on second now. No scouts at all.
You say that, but he did already kill Bud. He did already get a frag. You know, it's not a very significant one when you're trying to push last, and Lardox immediately trades out on the other side with his own sack play, but, you know, it opened that up. It opened up the ability for Lardox to jump in like that in the first place, which otherwise would have been a lot tougher. So, we'll see how well that sniper operates after this. A single soldier pick isn't too much to write home about, especially with how passive Hans is still being. They gotta make some room for this guy in lobby or something like that so he can get some cheeky angles and actually hit some important targets, because for the time being, he's not doing much at all. There's no way Epic Gaming are going to be keen to push out themselves too much, and with Fancy going down, that's going to make it a lot harder to open up any sort of sight lines and actually open up some ambitious play out of Grix, which immediately gets punished. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it's worth a go. Losing, there's one soldier up already. They went for some kind of aggression there into the lobby, but yeah, caught out with a nice little headshot. But actually, the rotation's come all the way around the other side. Pressure will be now in through 1 from the MANDEM side, but they've already lost one of their scouts and the sniper too, so again, there's a bit of an overextension here, trying to rotate around in that 5v5, but everyone's getting caught out. Actually, Lardox goes down too. It's a 5v3, and the push can really start coming in through now from the Epic Gaming side. Forced out over is the overcharge over on the MANDEM side. Fancy going to run in, try and get what he can, but it's so awkward. Fancy goes down in the Uber, and Theos just perfectly safe, all the way back in rollout, not flinching one muscle.
Yeah, he's sitting back there. Hans still hitting the shots, though, laying down the pain. Zams is not going to be part of this repush at all, and that immediately slows down Epic Gaming so much. They still have the Uber, but they're going to be lacking so much damage, both a soldier and the demo dead as well. They find Blank, but that's all they can really write home about. The team's they've already wrapped around, and Hans has killed Theos, and now it's just 2 people left, both of them scouts, trying their damnedest to go up against this team. And you know what? They're actually kind of making it. I mean, it's 2v1 on a medic here, surely. Yeah, okay, Julius comes in as well to help out. Sam's cleaning up that nice little kill, but that could have gone a lot different for Epic Gaming here for a moment. They were starting to lose it. They were starting to slip away a little bit from that one. Keeping it together, though. Keeping up the pressure. Now taking back mid as well, and staying in the game for the time being. Surely Hans doesn't come up on Sniper again, right? There's no way he stays on Sniper, right?
Well, to be fair, there is, like, obviously not to know, but there is a crit screen over on the Theos, and Sniper into a crit screen can be pretty useful, right? There's no invulnerability to get through those sight lines. But as it stands, it's going to be going back up to the 6 cutter classes we've got. Yep, back onto the soldier for Haunts, and yeah, as we say, there's crit screen on both these sides actually, but Theos is a long way ahead. There was about a 15-second spawn difference when these 2 medics came back up, and yeah, even though Boulder gets the forward spawn, it really doesn't make any difference at all, because Theos already has crits, and he's already maybe looking to work their way in.
Oh, they gotta land those crit stickies though, and the first one doesn't hit anything. Now everybody's in cover as well. Zams gets chuckled around by a ton of damage, completely out of position, disconnected from his medic, and they even lose Grix in the tail end of it. It's starting to fall apart. The meme spoon doesn't quite connect either, but honestly, at that point, you could argue the meme spoon kind of ruined it for him. A rocket probably would have done more work against Boulder there. Didn't even get the force out of anything either. Perhaps too ambitious. Perhaps not enough verticality for the meme spoon to work, and that's an unfortunate situation, because now they're going to be on the back foot even longer. The crits is coming up again on Theos, but with that Uber ready, all it takes is a right click, and that's going to immediately nullify anything they could try to do with it, as MANDEM just keeps trucking on forward, pushing out all these Epic gamers back to their own last, and securing second as well for the low price of free, basically.
Yeah, see now if this Uber v crit situation can work in their favour over on the side. It's looking fairly good for them at the moment, as they're trying to work their way in through 1, but this gun is so hard to get to with the sniper as well, and Yalin hitting one really nice headshot there into Haunts. But I guess the fact that it's Uber v crits means that you don't really have to rush in the same way you normally would, right, in the Uber ad situation. Like they can wait for their spawners if they want. They can maybe try and play around for a pick before going in, because at the end of the day, they don't have to worry about Theos getting an Uber, right? Because Theos already has the crits.
At this point, it would have, with how long they've been on last at this point, I feel like Theos could have probably switched to Uber and just built one as well. With how long MANDEM are taking to get anything done, losing Blank as well, trading him out for Bud, it's gonna just slow them down ever so slightly more. They can't really push in without the demo, at least not as easily, even in an equal number situation. And losing your other soldier like that certainly ain't gonna do much for you either. Yellen hitting the shots he needs to. Lots of sniper play, ironically, in the cup where sniper didn't really get anything changed about him, but yeah, well, that's how it is sometimes, I guess. And well, they're just right back to it, aren't they? They can't push out, nobody can push in. It's just gonna be a stalemate for a while.
Yeah, now, like you say, Theos has actually just decided to go over to the regular Medigun and has decided to start building, and to be honest, it's been building very, very quickly. But over on the other side, we have got we've got the full-on French connection over there. We've got Haunts, we've got Inso, both on Spy, both outside of spawn, and both trying to get ready for some tomfoolery here into the last point. It's into we're barely into these stalemates at all, but all the tricks are coming out. Haunts, I believe, has been spotted already by some spam. But will we expect the second Spy? This is all what it's about. Inso is in lobby and hasn't actually managed to find their way in yet. Oh, they've been caught as well. It's over. The game's up. The game's up. Grix has seen it. Alarm bell sounded.
The dead ringer, though. The dead ringer. That's an interesting choice indeed. Perhaps it could actually work. Nobody usually expects it necessarily, but unfortunately, Crafty decided to look around for suspicious individuals approaching his combo. And yeah, that's a double spy play. The jig is up. It's not happening this one. And you got the opportunity for Yellen to maybe do a little bit of sniping out instead into the second point. I mean, you got 2 players down. Logdog's very low as well for a moment. They're just waiting for arrows. But it's a tough point to push out of for Epic Gaming here. They need more than just a couple of spy picks at the end of the day. It's an ambitious play. It didn't quite work out. It wasn't, but the kills weren't synced up, and now they're just right back to trying to fight over lobby. And well, they trade out 2 for 1. So it's actually going pretty well right now for Epic Gaming, especially considering one of those picks is blank. The demo being taken care of, and there goes Hans.
The drop comes in straight to one, completely unwatched, gets behind everyone. No heads were turned at all, and Theos is taken down, but Boulder is still potentially vulnerable here. There's a sniper.
Oh my god, no way.
With the spoon as well. The Uber charge comes out finally, forcing on nobody. Blank in eventually to try and help out, but it was looking so good potentially, but I guess so many players fell on the MANDEM side when this drop came through that they couldn't really capitalize too well, but still, there's potential danger. Only 3 players in a sentry gun here on this last point, as MANDEM, they're still trying to bully their way in.
Yeah, they are picking up a couple of frags here and there. I mean, they did just clean up both soldiers. They cleaned up the NG as well as the sentry gun, and it's the players are falling fast on the side of Epic Gaming. Bud and Theos trying to hold down the fort somehow, but it is simply not enough. And that is all she wrote for that round. MANDEM finally puts the first point on the board, but it took them 10 minutes. So it wasn't the fastest. Had to fight for it, certainly, and we'll see if they can continue that momentum forward on the very next mid-fight straight away. Still haven't seen anything out of any sort of base jumpers or, God forbid, gas passes, but a couple of spoon attempts here and there, but certainly making use of it for the time being. We'll see how that evolves. Maybe this mid-fight, a fast little bomb across the point could catch somebody out, you never know. For the time being, teams love spamming each other. This is how mids go. They just look at each other, do a bit of chip damage here and there, try to find some positioning, a coordinated bomb, and there you go, you find your first little frag onto Inzo. Once more, Epic Gaming going up into the lead on this mid-fight for the time being. We'll see how well they can handle onto it as Lardox gets levitated by all kinds of damage. Blank taken down as well as Hans. Only Fancy and Boulder left, trying their absolute damnedest here. Neither of these guys in their main role today, though, and unfortunately for them, that is a wipe for MANDEM on the mid.
Yeah, really just consistently outplayed there. Epic Gaming, really good plays, really good bombs, and I think there's a couple of nice little air shots there coming in on these bombing soldiers that were coming in over from the MANDEM side, but it's all well and good winning the mid. They've now got a last push to convert and see if they're able to do it. Inso getting caught out very, very early. That's a massive frag to find on the peeking sniper. Haunt's going to go 1 for 1-2 on the way in. Ubercharge forced out eventually by Lardox bombing through, but so many players have fallen on this blue side, and Lardox going to have to try and hurl himself onto the point to try and block it, but he's not going to be enough. Great conversion there. They were fed a couple of picks on the way through, but take what you're given. And Epic Gaming back in the game.
That's a very fast clap back. Less than 2 minutes to right back to it, equalize the scoreline, take you back to a potential lead afterwards, and if they continue that momentum, that's certainly looking a little bit more dire for MANDEM, because that is a very fast round to lose. It's never Never a nice one, and Blank messing up his rollout as well means he's gonna be late to the mid, making things even harder for MANDEM right off the bat on this round, as Epic Gaming has taken so much ground already. They have so much presence on that mid, and MANDEM really have to force their way in here just to try and make anything happen. That being said, they're gonna be the first to fall, with Hans once more dying first. Lardox, big bomb onto the combo, but can't quite get the finishing damage of the Theos. No, finally! Finally, Fancy manages to sneak in, gets 2 actually, gets 3! Guns everybody down who just happens to have low health, and it's only a Blank left as he tries to escape and gets cut off. Once more a 1 mid for Epic Gaming, but nowhere near as decisive as it could have been.
Yeah, if Boulder, for a moment, I saw like the highlight reel play there from Boulder. Like there was 2 low HP players in front, a couple of nice melee hits or arrows maybe could have been there, but not allowed to happen. Bud and Crafty, really well played from those 2, and they're going to win the mid. And they're going to get a tiny bit of Uberad here with Boulder being a slightly slower spawner, but maybe not enough to really work with if Boulder's building properly, as I'm sure he will be over on this second point. But another strong mid, like you say, the space is just taken so well. But actually, MANDEM, they just decide, you know what, we're not going to sit on second and play it slow. It's a dry fight, we're just going to try and barge our way back in onto this mid point in a 6v6. I respect the challenge.
It seems to be their specialty. They've done it in the first round already. It may very well work for them again. That being said, it's currently not working out for them at all. They've already lost 2, and they're not looking very healthy either, having to back off. Still a bit of a disad as well. If it came down to it, Theos would have had approximately 5 seconds sooner, and that would have probably spelled some doom as well if they were close enough. That being said, it won't matter here. It will matter on loss as the Uber comes in immediately for Epic Gaming. Obviously, immediately responded to by Boulder as well, and only once that shininess fades, that's when it really matters on who's going to be having an advantage on this last point. Bud going down early, though, means that this pushing team is at the disadvantage immediately, fighting from behind and trading frags left and right, but they're losing more players on the side of Epic Gaming, with only Zams and Theos left trying to lick their wounds and get out of it as the spoon comes in. Unfortunately, not a crit, but it doesn't really matter anyway, because it turns out rockets can also kill enemies.
Yeah, nice play there. It's a really nice chase down there. They don't want to, those last 2 players get out. Zams and Theos both getting caught very late spawners. They're both getting denied the forward spawn on mid as well. So this should be a tentatively, relatively free midpoint if they're able to just get through this choke nicely. Zams has still not even spawned in a second yet, so plenty of free space to take. Blank did go down, so that means there's going to be no supporting artillery from a blue demo man yet, but it's not really going to matter. The space is being pretty good, but actually Crafty is just going to go 2 frags and actually flip this in his head completely.
Yeah, no, that just turns it around entirely now. MANDEM back on the back foot immediately again, and it looks like Epic Gaming have another chance to take in the second. Matter of fact, they're going to force the Uber out. Maybe it's a bit of an early exchange out of, or much rather wanted exchange out of Boulder, considering Theos doesn't actually have any Uber whatsoever to respond with it. It's now currently facing down, staring down a Soul Scout. Fancy trying his absolute damnedest, finally gets the kill, and Crafty, pulling back some players with the backpack, isn't quite enough to actually finish it either. But certainly buys his team a little bit of extra time here.
The spawn trap is brutal. Blank not letting anyone, just holding the fort here on the second point. It's such a brutal
Very smart,
play, right? Like,
very smart. Good foresight about the forward spawn there, making sure nobody can deny second either. And MANDEM are leapfrogging this into last immediately. They still have such an ad now as well, because Theos did end up dying, and this could be dire for Epic Gaming to try and hold on to this in any way at all. They have to have a miraculous hold here on their hands in the next, well, about 10 seconds whenever MANDEM decides to get all buffed up and start rolling in, because they certainly would not want to leave too much time on the table. Theos is going to eventually get his own Uber as well. The longer they take, the worst of a time they're going to have, and Blank trying his best to jump in, but just gets the stickies knocked away every second. That being said, it doesn't matter, they still grab some grounds. Lardox is the first to fall, but that Heavy's taking so much damage as well. Somebody just has to focus him down. Crafty still hasn't been killed, that Heavy's alive, and Blank can't escape either. Gets killed by Bud, and throughout all of that, somehow, some way, the push was completely botched.
Yeah, one soldier shooting the gun the whole time, it's never going to be enough. Just constantly being hit by the engineer, and it's just, yeah, there's no way in with a gun there. There's a Heavy as well, which was spammed down. Great management there from the Epic Gaming side, keeping their Heavy alive as well. Like, it's so hard. The Ubercharge fades, there's still a Heavy, there's still a gun, there's still plenty of ground held by the red side. He's going to be looking so good, but actually Theos getting absolutely destroyed there. Just have to force out the Uber on very low HP. I thought for a moment there could have been a drop potentially, but Theos knows the damages, knows his numbers, and is able to pop out that Uber just in time.
Well, he's gonna stay in it for now. Unfortunately for Epic Gaming, even if Bud is behind, he's gonna have to pull off a miraculous Monkey Garden, and he does! He gets the spoon. That's what he needed. That drop was crucial to keeping Epic Gaming in this round immediately, and, well, they are keeping Theos alive. They're keeping themselves alive. They're just holding off Haunts. They gotta hold off Fancy as well. He's a bit of a nuisance here, and your medic is a little weak, so you gotta be careful. He might not be playing his main right now, but he certainly is still a force to be reckoned with on that scout right now. He's certainly been hitting the damage he needs to, and he's just being behind is a bit of a distraction here, but there's something to worry about. Catching off somebody like the scout forward spawning, for instance. Crafty, just a little bit out of his depth here. Fancy just still being a thorn. Can't quite deal with him just yet. But at the end of the day, he's also a player that's not in the fight right now, as Epic Gaming on Mountain Dev push forward and Blank gets absolutely destroyed. Sure, the Force comes out, they managed to get the Force out the Theos once more, but they've also lost 3 players for it, and Fancy is still in behind, not really accomplishing much to contribute either. So, yeah, he's fighting the single scout again. It's just Crafty and Fancy having their own DM match on second, I suppose.
Oh,
Fancy keeps winning. He keeps winning, but he's also not helping on last, where they're currently getting pushed. And they just had their Uber forced, and half the team is still just about respawning. Lots of cap time already. They are going to hold on to it for now, but this split play from MANDEM is only working in so well as long as Fancy keeps winning the 1v1s, or he gets back to his team, which he does now.
Actually, they've lost so many players here. Is Theos potentially in trouble? The push can come through choke. Big Bob coming in. Theos flown into the sky, just falls backwards off the railing. Tries to run back with the rest of the team, but there is still potential here to press in towards these retreating players. Over on the Epic Gaming side, Crafty goes down again. Fancy now on an 8k for this live. Has been having an absolute whale of a time in behind, particularly killing onto Crafty repeatedly. But it seems like that's where the wave stops now. It's MANDEM taking the second point. It looks like Epic Gaming have managed to get themselves set up on their own second, and it's a pretty good job that they did, right? Because they were looking in big trouble. When I saw Theos getting penciled upwards there in mid, I thought, oh dear, this could be a tidal wave across the entire map. But it's not to be, as we slow down even Ubers, and we'll see now what MANDEM have to cook into any second.
They've got about 10 minutes to convert another round if they do not wish to take it to a golden cap. So certainly anything's game. Anything can happen. Anything is possible. As a little bit of aggression starts to move in from MANDEM, and they lose Lardox from the back of those sacrifice plays. Fair enough. You tried to make an opening, you couldn't quite get it, and now Inzo has paid with his life on the flank as well as Bud gets in again with the spoon. Yeah, okay, I can see why we banned this thing.
Yeah, Bud is having a great time with the Market Gardener. Another kill onto Boulder, another drop, and another big fight win coming out from the Epic Gaming side. Fancy still behind again, just, trying to be a nuisance. Crafty has a friend this time in Grix. They're both just, we're going to double up, we're going to try and get this kill over onto Fancy. 3 players as well, actually. Bud coming in from the forward spawn is there to help out and sweep up. All this space being taken, there's so much ground to take, and Theos still at full Uber charge, 40% over on Boulder. Second point going to be getting capped up very quickly, and after that, there's still a scout missing for the moment over on Fancy, and this Uber push is going to be coming in very quick.
Yeah, matter of fact, as you say that, it is already coming in. They've already managed to claim the entire left side of the last point, and that heavy on Fancy's already taken quite a bit of damage as well. He's getting tanked up for the time being, though. He is still alive, and as that Uber is faded, this is looking a little bit less great for Epic Gaming. They've lost Bud as well. Lots of damage onto the rest of their team. Crafty's dead. There goes Grix. It's only a couple of players left to try and to make the difference here. It's basically a mirror matchup, but there goes 1, there goes 2. It's only Theos trying to make a run for it, and, well, Inzo might have a chance to catch him, but decides not to chase, seeing that there's forward spawners. Instead, will help the team cap. And for once more, MANDEM managed to get out of their own last just as easily. But now they have to hold on to second as well. Nice pipe. Nice pipe.
I think Bud just clipped the top of the fence there. That could have been very dangerous for Boulder again there on that second point. I was fearing for a moment. Bud with the massive bomb through the choke. Not quite going to get it. And someone gets out alive as well. I think 7 HP on landing. But nicely managed there from Bud. But as it stands, it's going to be still a little bit of ad, I believe. Bud again with the nukes towards choke, going 1-for-1 with the demo. And the Uber charge used out again over from Boulder up at the top of lobby. But it's just forced out, and there's only a bit of space taken. That's really it. Because Epic Gaming now, they can start re-engaging.
Yeah, they've got their own Uber ready. The second hasn't even been capped yet, so they don't have to worry about the back cap just yet. They're blocking the point. They just clean up everybody who has slipped in any capacity. I mean, they got to worry about Hans, but he's being a bit cheeky with it. Unfortunately, he's also going to meet Bud, the man himself, soon enough, and well, he's also got to go up against Grix on the other end, so 2v1 is already a tough situation to be in. He does deny Bud the spoon, but there's rockets in that rocket launcher, and that's what, unfortunately, can kill you as well at the end of the day. So Epic Gaming back in control. They can take mid. Ubers are pretty equal as well at the end of that, and somehow neither team really managing to make quite enough of a dent in either team's defense to actually finish a push for quite a while now. So we'll have to see how they approach the second push now on the side of Epic Gaming. They are, at the end of the day, they are attacking. They are the ones that have to make a move. The ball's in their court. And 7 minutes is still plenty of time. It feels like it's only been 3 minutes. I feel like we've seen so much action. It feels like it's been so long, but it's just been points flipping hands every once in a while, but nothing, no rounds coming off it at all, and a bit of damage into the choke, but I'm not going to die from that though, and yeah, it's just Epic Gaming gotta try and find a way to open this up now for themselves. They might send in some cheeky little sacks, go for an off class of some kind. Who knows, maybe this is where you bring out the base jumper, you just hover in the air, start nuking people from above. This is where you gotta start strategizing. You've got access to a little bit of an expanded arsenal. It's not just the meme spoon. There's some other stuff you can do as well.
Oh,
that being said, maybe it won't matter.
Meme spoon! Oh dear, Bud again, 3 for 3. Oh dear me. Boulder goes down once more, but actually in the meantime, the entire Epic Gaming team died.
Yeah, the spoon is only half the battle. Boulder's not having a good day. I think that's his third drop to the spoon as well.
It is all to Bud as well.
In the same round as well. So it's looking rough, but it doesn't matter because even if your medic dies, that's like a switch getting flipped in the brains of MANDEM players, and they realize, all right, let's go forward. And then immediately the scouts for Epic Gaming respawn and decide, okay, let's kill everybody on mid. So it's just a back and forth, endless back and forth, tug of war. Nobody really hangs over this midpoint for longer than a couple of minutes, but we're right back to where we started, except it's a lot messier now. Hans tries to slip in immediately, realizes that is a very difficult decision to fight, and pays with his life as well, trying to escape, as Crafty lives with 2 HP. And it looks like once more Epic Gaming, maybe even ready to go for a last push here. MANDEM certainly ready to protect that last point. They're not even fighting for second.
Yeah, not enough spawners there in time, and yeah, having lost so many players on mid, they just couldn't get themselves set up. So I respect the idea, you know, just rather than risking a disadvantage fight on their own second, you know what? There's five and a bit minutes left. We'll just sit back on our last. We'll get the gun up, we'll get the sniper up, we'll build up the rest of our Uber charge, and we'll just sit here and sit tight and hope that the combination of the gun and the soldier, the demo, the sniper, and such are able to stop Bud, because Bud is on a bit of a tear so far with this spoon.
I can't believe Americans have to deal with this like every season. That's crazy. I can't believe they put up with this, but you know what? Maybe there is some merit to it. It certainly is fun to see drops once more. Unfortunately, doesn't work that well on last, as 2 players from Epic Gaming now dead, and a bit of a sightline for Fancy opening up on second here with a sniper as well. Maybe perhaps giving him the opportunity to turn the tides. Yeah, well, he didn't accomplish anything, so it doesn't matter. Hans was in. And now he's dead.
I like the idea, though, right? Send the sniper in through one and then have a soldier bombing behind, because you know where the medic's going to be stood when the sniper's peeking in through one like that, but not really going to land any good shots. There was some good body blocking there from the rest of the Epic Gaming players, but now with one soldier down for a moment, there's some space to be taken in through 2 and in through 1, but Grix pays his life into. Well played there from Zladox. There's Yalin at the sniper who's come up here over on the red side. He's going to have to back all the way out, wait for their spawner to come back in. There's 4 minutes left. There's plenty of time to work with, plenty of time to start continue this poke and a prod into last. Maybe the last play of the game, only 3 minutes of game time left.
Yeah, I mean, 4 minutes is plenty of time to try and push last if you're Epic Gaming here. It's not a lot of time to try and coast to coast if you're MANDEM though. So if MANDEM want to make something happen, they gotta pray that whatever push comes out of Epic Gaming next is so disastrous that the just legacy will be completely destroyed and they won't be able to stabilize again, because that's the only way to get in this round at this point. It's down to Epic Gaming whether this becomes a tie with a golden cap to follow or whether they win in regulation time. And for the time being, I guess they're working with the sniper plays. They're trying to see if that can open things up for them a little bit. Obviously, Balder standing right in that dispenser armor, making sure nobody can get close to that medic whatsoever, and Fancy trying to counter the sniper out of Yalin as well, making sure that that guy doesn't get too much of a sightline that he wouldn't want to have himself. And you know what? Getting the frag onto Bud instead certainly does slow things down a little bit for Epic Gaming.
Yeah, it was a good effort beforehand from Epic Gaming. They managed to force out the soldier from 2 and managed to get some free spam on the gun, but in the meantime, they couldn't really use that like interval of time while the gun was getting rebuilt to do anything, because MANDEM did such a good job in lobby of just stuffing everyone out. And yeah, Fancy, of course, eventually hits a nice headshot later on onto Bud, but that's sort of the way you have to break in. It has to be like a multi-step process getting in, especially with the gun, like overwatching over everything. Boulder is relatively secure there in the dispenser armor. I suppose that might help against any incoming shovel attacks, but Zam's going down as well. This is going to be bleeding out players now, and Bud as well. Alright, maybe is there a chance of a counter-aggression here? There's only 2 minutes of game time left, so like you say, it's maybe not worth it at this point to try and go for anything too crazy. And yeah, they're just going to chill it out. Still 2 players up, there's no reason to overextend and mess up at all. Fancy is going to peek though.
And he does get the shot onto Yellen. Was waiting for an arrow and immediately follows it up onto Zams as well. All right, they're certainly trying to hold onto this for as long as they possibly can. There's no chance MANDEM are pushing coast to coast in 100 seconds. It's very unlikely. So it's going to be down to whether this Epic Gaming push can make anything happen as Ubers are exchanged. And obviously it's a lot better of an Uber for the side of MANDEM, as everybody from Epic Gaming, besides one sole soldier by the name of Grix, manages to escape. So I guess they're banking on this dry fight afterwards. They got 90 seconds. It's certainly plausible, but they have to be on point. They have to be on the top of their games with a sentry, a sniper, well, not a sniper anymore, but perhaps a sniper, depending on what Fancy decides to stand. It's gonna be a very tough thing to push into, and maybe, just maybe they can get this Uber just about in time, but it will be very tight to try and make a push off the back of it as well. You have to be unfathomably clean and surgical by removing the most important targets straight away. And, well, like, the 10% ad they have is certainly not much to write home about.
Yeah, well, they'll have to go for it. They'll have to try, because you say there's 50 seconds of game time. There's actually only 25 seconds of round time, so they better be getting some time on this point as well if they want to use that full 50 seconds. Gun taken down already as the Uber charge runs across point. Yalin, though, taking so much damage in the post-Uber. He's taken down and dropped by Theos now. Is actually only 1 frag coming through, a little bit of cap time. This is surely going to Golden Cap at this point. There's 5 seconds left. The cap time is going to drip down. And there we have it. 0 seconds. Going to Golden Cap in 20 seconds of rolling out.
Yeah, you know, you never know. Maybe they can somehow defy quantum physics and still cap last immediately, but realistically, we are going to a Golden Cap, which, considering how Epic Gaming basically rolled MANDEM in the match yesterday, right? Is a different story, I guess. MANDEM actually trying this time, perhaps. Who knows? We'll see how that goes. This is going to be interesting. I mean, if there's another round where Bud manages to get 3 spoons onto Boulder, I don't know, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Because I will say, in the games I've seen so far in this cup, like the spoons, it's had like some effect, but like Bud has been using it far better than everyone else that I've seen so far in this cup. As yeah, 3 drops in 1 map is pretty bad. The map's not even over either. There's potential for more in Golden Cap.
Yeah, true. It is. I guess there's maybe like an argument to be made. Like maybe you are, considering how long we haven't played with the spoon in EU now, right? Maybe there's an argument to be made that you are just going to have a bigger advantage at using it in a cup like this if you just pub semi-regularly and use it there or something like that, right? Because, like, half of it is obviously being good at jumping, but we're, like, at the top of Prem here. Everybody knows how to jump. So it comes down to, you know, strafing exactly right and having the exact timing for the spoon. It's not the most trivial weapon to use. If anybody's ever used it outside of an environment like this, yeah, it's pretty easy, but once people actually start shooting at you, perhaps it becomes a little tougher. So managing to actually get anything done with it, still a slight bit of a challenge, perhaps. That being said, we're into our golden mid fight, the first one of the Golden Cap, much rather, and Bud is going to be taken care of immediately as Theos falls very, very low as well. They do find Blank on the other side, though. No demo to worry about for the time being, which allows Theos to get that med pack, keep himself alive, and keep Epic Gaming's medic and also heals in this for the time being as they as they shred the rest of the team. Theo still managing to live. This guy is unkillable right now. Takes a lot of damage, goes flying everywhere, but that's not going to take him down. He's just going to keep trucking forward. Thankfully for the side of MANDEM, though, they managed to keep their Balder alive as well, and they are going to have an Uber to respond with on this last point, come that push on the side of Epic Gaming.
Yeah, on the downside though, because they've been building like the Ubercharge, they haven't been building a gun in the meantime, so there is potentially chance for the side of Epic Gaming to get in without a gun being built. Fancy on the Heavy is going to be there to try and block, and actually, yeah, there's the trades in, and the Heavy just scares everyone off completely. It's straight back out of lobby for the Epic Gaming side as Uber's just getting rebuilt, and really nicely held from MANDEM as they can just get set up now. Gun going up as well, and I think that might be an opportunity missed.
Yeah, perhaps Epic Gaming not willing to take enough ground on the other side of the last point, where the Heavy wouldn't have been as much of an issue or something, but I guess they're opting to go for the more traditional approach here as they lose Bud, and Zams gets absolutely annihilated by Hans in the skybox. Holy crap. You got levitated. That was basically a double air shot, even if one of them was splashed. That's, yeah, you hate to see it. You hate to be on the receiving end of that. That's a painful one. Fancy back up on the sniper again immediately as well. Couple of shots could be what turns the tides for MANDEM here, lets them get out of last, and finally get onto the other side of the map for the first time in quite a while. They haven't been there. They've only been on this last for a while.
Yeah, it's a bit deja vu, isn't it, from the previous round? Yeah, 5 whole minutes at MANDEM last, and yeah, Epic Gaming, they haven't. I don't know, they haven't really come close yet. They haven't had like opportunities where they found a couple of picks and had like a good attempt at really getting in. Like it wasn't really even close at any point in that last full 5-minute stalemate. And we're already a minute and a half into this one, and the first bomb comes in. Bud with a big drop this time, doesn't need the spoon. Dispenser armor absolutely shattered. The bomb comes in, and just as I say, they hadn't really looked good in terms of getting these pushes over the line into last. 10 seconds later, the round is over. And Epic Gaming have won.
It's just that easy. Turns out the dispenser armor can't save you from just rocket after rocket after rocket getting hailed down upon you. Wow, there you go. Just that easily. Epic Gaming looking once more like perhaps the favorite even in this little matchup right now. They looked a little bit more dominant on process. Sure, that last round stalled a bit. They had some struggles trying to actually get the push done, but if you consider that it took MANDEM 10 minutes to get the first round, and then, Epic Gaming clapped back in less than 2, they were looking a bit more dominant throughout most of that, I think. If we're looking at like map possession, how much was played on each side, I would definitely argue that Epic Gaming looked a lot stronger that round. So the fact that it even went to a golden cap at all is, I guess, an admirable defense by MANDEM.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there was some crazy moments. Like we say, there was like scraps around like the mid and second areas with like the constant like flank threats from Fancy. There was obviously drops coming in every 5 minutes or so from from Bud throughout the game. It was a real like push and pull, but like you say, Epic Gaming probably deserved winners. They were winning out those skirmishes around like the mid and second points more often than not, and had a fair few good attempts into last, and obviously the full 5-minute stalemate at the end of the previous regulation time as well. So yeah, they're taking the first map process, and I think they're still unbeaten, I believe, this cup. I think they've won everything so far, so still running strong, and Sultry is the next wall that they're going to have to face, and if they win that, then this could be a clean tournament for them.
It could be. I'm just looking at the logs right now, and obviously I don't know exactly if this translates 1-to-1, but I had a look at Bud has gotten 4 kills with the Market Gardener throughout that map, and he's also killed Balder 4 times. So, if we're going off of basic heuristics, we know for sure that 3 of those were Market Gardens. So there's a good chance that there was a 4th one that we just forgot about.
No, the fourth one was the fourth one was the one in Golden Cap, right? On the dispenser.
Oh yeah, right, of course. Okay, but I don't know what his last Market Gardener was.
I can't remember who the last Market Gardener was.
Must have been a random soldier kill, maybe, or something like that. I do not remember. Let's see in general, who else has used it?
Haunch tried. Haunch had one non-crit with it. That's it. So honestly, for the rest of the cup, I've not seen it like have that much good use, to be honest, on the Market Guard. Like it is just Bud who is just having a lot of fun with it and having a lot of success as well. But yeah, like you say, part of it comes with like, I know in Europe we've not played with it for so long that like I know sort of both the players using it and the people trying to defend against it. It's weird, right? Because no one is
really
fully used to it as much.
Yeah. You're not really used to how to play against or with it. So if you've done any form of practice at all, right, any form of market garden practicing, you're immediately at an insane advantage here, straight off the bat. And maybe it seems like Bud has done that. He's put in a little bit of the practice, knows when exactly to deploy the spoon, and it's been working well. Has it been the absolute difference maker? I don't know, because there was that round where he dropped Balder 3 times with it, and they still didn't win that round, right?
That is
so at
true.
the end of the day, even if they were looking a bit dominant, and obviously the spoon has made a difference, it hasn't been that impactful, right? If MANDEM played against it a little bit better, or I mean, on the other side, on the flip side, if Epic Gaming played, with it better, I feel like this could have been a lot of a different round.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like the one which springs to mind is the one on MANDEM's second point where Bud jumps in through sewer, gets the drop with the spoon on the mini spire, but then like 4 players from Epic Gaming just die out of nowhere, and it's like a 4-man sack for the medic essentially. And then they all get chased back and forced out eventually. Like, just situations like that, like, yeah, it's all well and good you get the frag leg, but you still have to be in good position. You still don't want to be overextending alongside as distraction for the spoon play. But we'll see. We're going to be moving on to Sultry next, which is a map that's, or is it fairly newish? So it's maybe not something that's been trodden too well, at least with the spoon in Europe, but I'm sure there's plenty of nice ramps you can slide off, plenty of high walls for bombs off, as well as definitely one of the maps you're thinking it could have more impact on than others. So I'm really interested to see what impact it can have, and we didn't see too much of the other unlocks. I don't think we saw a single gas passer or any base jumper, but I don't know, maybe the spoon is the only one that's really breaking into the meta at the moment.
Yeah, maybe that's the one that actually matters, which gives us the data we need for the other 2 weapons, that being that why not unban them? It's not like they matter, evidently.
Well.
If nobody's gonna use them anyway, you might as well take them onto the whitelist. But that's not gonna matter, because for now we have to look at this mid fight. We have to see how these teams approach this first round on Sultry, and how they wish to set the stage for what could be the final map of the cup, or could be another chance for MANDEM to come back, as they've swapped up their loadout, or their layout much rather, with Blank and Fancy swapping roles, Fancy back on his main, seeing if that perhaps is the difference that they so desire to try and make this a little bit easier for themselves. For the time being, I mean, they've won the mid, that's certainly already setting the stage a little bit, but they didn't win decisively. Couple soldier frags, both of which are respawning right now, and the Uber coming up a little bit sooner here for Epic Gaming as well, means it's not like they're going to be able to snowball too much off of it.
Absolutely not, but they have got a lot of space here on this second point. With Haunts going down, maybe that's something that Epic Gaming can work with, but 2 frags going back to the Grix and Crafty's second point is going to flip, and that's going to mean it's going to be a pretty good opportunity now to start sending sacks in already. There's a heavy up, there's no gun built yet, Grix still yet to spawn in. Yes, there is a soldier down over on the MANDEM side, but there's so much space that can be taken. The heavy medium to long range isn't doing a great deal of damage, and Lardox knows that. Bombs in onto the medic, but doesn't quite manage it. I think dies at his own hand there to his own rocket launcher, but it's worth the effort.
Should have used the spoon.
Yeah, should have gone for it.
That's where you would have done it, man. That would have made the difference there, guaranteed. So far, so good for the hold on Epic Gaming, I suppose. They managed to take care of 2. Give themselves a bit of time to finally set up. They don't quite want to push out off the back of 2 frags. I respect that, honestly. It's a bit cheeky to do, but they're gonna try to set up a little bit of a hold here, get some time now as Inzo comes up on the sniper for MANDEM, seeing if can perhaps abuse that potential sight line on either side here. Crafty trying to counter snipe, making sure that that very thing does not occur, and it's looking like it's going to be a bit more of a stalemate lost for the time being. Neither team doing much beyond giving the sniper a little bit of ground to work with.
Lardox just got very, very far in, and actually he's taken
punished,
down by the
immediately
spoon.
Punished for it. That's the spoon right there. It's an easy pickup for that frag. It just puts him in a grocery bag. Problem solved. Bud now overextends himself immediately into lobby, but will probably escape. Never mind, I lied. I shouldn't have even mentioned it. Fancy does clean him up. But, you know,
I think gun down, this is potentially kind of bad with gun down as well. Bud's still 10 seconds away from a respawn, and the Horns is in. Big damage onto Theos, but the frag is not found yet. Inso Blank both trying to barge their way in through this far side. Inso with a nice headshot as well. Grix falling, but despite all the players throwing themselves in, it's just such a safe spot for Theos. On that dispenser, there's little shelter over the top as well. There's a little mini pack as well. It's really well played, and the onslaught is held.
Oh, that was a nice quick scope. That made me, that tickled something in my brain when I saw that. That was nice. A nice little quick scope there out of Inzo. Goddamn. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day because I couldn't quite get the spoon that time, but at the very least he does get the force out of Boulder. Counter Uber comes out of Theos as well, and it's looking a lot better for Epic Gaming right off the bat. It lasts longer, they can chase out the remaining players on MANDEM, and they found the frag onto Lardox as well already. With more to come, perhaps? They're certainly just chasing them back. Doing a lot of damage on the Frontier as well. Does eventually get that frag cleaned up, as well as Inzo dying. It's actually looking very good for Epic Gaming. Boulder barely living. Boulder just somehow hanging on to that. Lucky, I guess.
Bud's just playing this entire game like some sort of heat-seeking missile towards the medic there. Every time Boulder is spotted, just flies straight in. And again, it was so close. Like Boulder down to 20 HP off of those rockets there up in the top of Frog. But not going to manage it on this occasion at least. Ubercharge is getting built up by both these teams, sitting at around even, players spawning up too. So we're going to be potentially slowing down for a moment, see what sort of sacks, what sort of pressure can come in from this Epic Gaming side. Is it going to be some sort of ramp sliding to a spoon? Is it going to be some kind of flank play getting someone up Frog? We'll have to see, but there's a big ramp in that choke, and I'm interested to see what can be done with it.
Surely, but there's also a lot of visibility in that choke. You can see it coming, and Bud's trying to line it up already. He's just trying to get the jump perfectly lined up. It's certainly a high bomb. He does get off the wall as well, but there's so much shelter. There's no way you're getting onto Boulder when he's standing that far back. You're not getting into that house unless you somehow have a fifth rocket to skip off of or something. It's not happening that way. You gotta try to do it differently. But I appreciate the effort. He's trying to make use of the tools in his toolbox. And it's not like MANDEM are really all that keen to counter-aggress towards that either. I mean, they could send a sack right now if they wanted to, but it would probably just hurt them more than it would help. And Bud used the opportunity to go up onto the sniper.
Yeah, but actually at the same time, they've now got no soldiers because Grix has gone down to a sticky trap up in Cheese, but I guess with them not knowing that it's a sniper going back up, it's kind of hard to sort of push in, knowing there's less spam towards these chokes, but the sniper is now they're aware of it now. Bud has lit up the kill feed with a kill into Inzo and straight out there with the bind spam as well. Love to see it.
That's what you like to see. That's what it's all about. That's what we love. There's love of the game, baby. That's why we're doing it. But you gotta need a little bit more than just a body shot onto a scout to really break open this hold, you know? You gotta lead some bit more angles, a bit more ground to take, and obviously now that they were the sniper on the side of Epic Gaming, MANDEM are gonna play a little bit more passively as well. Play around it more, spam the chokes a bit more aggressively. Another 150 onto a scout, but it's not enough for the kill this time around, and it's gonna be on the rest of the Epic Gaming team to actually try and make some space here. Make use of this sightline denial that is being done by the sniper, because if they're not playing around that, then they're not pushing either. They're not getting anything done with it. The whole point of the sniper is that he shuts down basically an entire one of the 3 choke points you have on this map here, so if you can play around that, you only got 2 to worry about, you can make it a lot easier for yourself. But it's not working out that well so far. MANDEM is not giving them enough of a quarter just yet.
Yeah, we'll see now where Bud decided to peek back in through towards choke. It might actually see Fancy in a moment. Fancy playing the angle very, very sensibly. Not going to step across too far. But like you say, with these like see-through panel on the point, it's so telegraphed. Wherever the sniper is, you always know pretty much, and you can always just rotate your players around in to make good use of that. Actually, with a soldier frag from Cheese, okay, this is the best chance we've seen in a while, I think, for Epic Gaming now. They can start grouping up Grix, taking a lot of space in towards Cheese as well. Crafty maybe thinking about a play through Frog, and Bud walking deep into choke with the sniper. Oh, doesn't quite land the shot. Good effort. Well, everyone's going to survive here on the MANDEM side, and they're just going to keep turtling up.
Yeah, they seem very, very much so perfectly content, just waiting on the second point for a bit of a bigger advantage to push off of, which is absolutely reasonable. Unfortunately for them, Bud is about to respawn, which could mean many things. You never know with this guy. He's a loose cannon. Anything can happen. He's up on the spy. That is the next opportunity for Epic Gaming to try and break this hold somehow, considering MANDEM not very keen to do much aggression by themselves.
Minute. They've got a minute to do it. If they're gonna go for a push, like any sort of push on the Epic Gaming side, it has to be pretty soon.
We'll see how the spy play works out. The distraction has to come in eventually, and he's using Invis Watch as well. So no cheeky no cheeky sneaking around. You just gotta book it, get in there as best you can, and they're already aware of the spy on the side of MANDEM as well. He has been flashed before, so he's got to make it count. He's been spotted as well.
Yeah, Lardox is shooting there. It's surely over for the spy. Crick's going to lobby though in the meantime, so actually this could be pretty good. The distraction is enough.
No
Bud's
way.
been healed. No way, Bud. No way. Oh, gets taken down on the way out. Grix though as well in lobby is still living. Actually wins the pack out as well as the Uber charges are exchanged here on this second point. And honestly, with no soldiers up for MANDEM, they're going to have to start backing up and backing up fast. Grix with a massive rocket there up on towards Blank, and second capped up just about in time. Only 2 players left standing. Haunts and Boulder up against the world as the push comes in straight away. Second point capped up. Zams, nice air shot there from Haunts. Might keep them in this round as Lardox is able to jump back in, take down Yalin, and the bleeding is stemmed for now.
Just about, and they're even going to be a little bit more aggressive into lobby. Respect it. They're definitely trying to make sure no Epic Gaming rats make their way through here, and well, they do find Bud immediately. They find Grix as well. Both soldiers taken care of. They do lose Lardox on their own side, but MANDEM are staying in this. They found their way back into this immediately, and they're going to retake second off the back of it as well. Perhaps even could have a chance to keep rolling forward here. There's still 2 down. Haunts just now spawning. I mean, it's certainly possible. Bud is back up on the spy. Grix still spawning as well on the other side, so it's certainly a tough situation, right? MANDEM, maybe if they'd somehow moved faster, they could have gotten a little bit of ground there, but being down on the numbers, it's always tough. So it's going to be down to how much they can keep it rolling forward. Now, with mid being taken, Bud on the spy. They're not aware this time around. Directly behind the medic. Surely he gets it this time, and he does.
Dear me.
A playmaker for Epic Gaming has done it once more, and now the rest of the team has to just, you know, stay alive and not die again, which 2 of them have already.
Easier said than, and the Force as well.
Yeah, the Force is done as well, and, you know, they find frags. At least they find something for it, for what it's worth, right? It was effectively a 3-player sack for Force, but it's also not a great situation for Epic Gaming, because now they have to retake mid.
Why is Bud still on spy?
I respect it. They would never expect the spy play after the pick.
With Ad, you would never expect the spy when you have Ad. Oh,
Yeah.
I guess they should have Ad. Like, they've not been building particularly well. And actually, yeah, Horns going down, more bombs coming across. There's actually a lot of low players here over on the Epic Gaming side. They're somehow still living despite all this aggression. Gonna cap up the midpoint, but Bud is the one to keep our eyes on the spy, sneaking through into the second point already, back on the Invis watch.
They know about him, though. They know about him. I'm pretty sure it was Inzo who saw him. It maybe doesn't even matter, because Soldier just jumps in and almost kills Balder anyway, and then Bud gets caught in the crossfire as they clean up Grix.
Yeah, that was
Grix
not
basically
coordinated,
griefed
was
him.
it? Yeah, exactly.
Grix just griefed him there.
Like, in isolation, that bomb was pretty close to killing Balder, but yeah, it did kind of grief blatantly the spy play. And does mean that now they're in a bit of a disadvantaged situation. Players coming back through onto mid, Ubercharge forced out again. Bud still on spy.
Third time's the charm. They never expect the 3 times, dude. They would never.
Is this the 4th time?
Maybe, I don't know. Theo's died,
I've lost count.
so
I've
did
genuinely
Yalin.
lost count of how many times the spies come out.
This one's gotta work. This one's gotta work. They lost Theo's. They lost everybody, man. In fact, he's been body blocked as well. They won't expect it. There's no shot they'll see it coming. He'll come in at the right exact time.
And they're
we'll
shooting
get that stab onto
everything. They're
Balder.
so paranoid.
4th time total, 3rd time in a row. That is what you like to see, baby.
Well, I guess when we're not on spy watch, I think we should probably pay attention to the fact that Boulder has a pretty sizable advantage here. There is a sniper and there is a spy to worry about, and Bud, trying to sneak back through lobby, is going to try and avoid everyone. No, he's caught out by Lardox. Ooh, he's going to live.
Gets out. All right, he gets out. He lives.
Fair enough.
Incredible. Fair enough. You know what? That's the second best outcome for a spy play, is not dying. And they managed to do that. Unfortunately, though, the Uber comes in for MANDEM, and Epic Gaming have to actually protect their point for once. They haven't been in this situation for quite a while, but now they have to manage to hold on to it. And you know what? They're doing a marvelous job at it as well. They've got 2 players taken care of immediately already. Make that 3. Only losing a couple on their own side. They are the soldiers, but at the end of the day, that's a trade well worth doing if you only have to deal with a very low fancy and a Boulder running for their lives onto second. And the chase is already on. They're trying to get as much ground off the back of this as they possibly can. And to retake second, perhaps snowball into mid, depending on how many spawners they can get. It looks like those spawners are all there for MANDEM, so it's going to be a fight for mid.
Yeah, it's going to be a fight. The Uber advantage is still 50-odd%, so it's still definitely pushable. It's just a case of how many players lose, how early is this Uber charge forced out. Yarlin already taken down. Zam's taken a fair bit of spam damage on the way through. Inso might be sneaking on Griggs too. Griggs, nice 180 there, able to get that kill. Is going to even the player count at least for a moment, but this little back and forth, this 1-for-1 trade has worked perfectly in MANDEM's favour because now they're not at distant anymore. It's even Ubers and they can get themselves set up and start working their push in towards the red second point.
And that is where they like to be. We haven't been on this side for too long just yet, but they're already in control. Griggs getting taken down once more, being not a part of the equation for the defense, and Hans uses that opportunity to immediately slip in behind as well. So much ground for this guy, together with Lardox actually, both soldiers just chilling back there. No market garden for you this time, bud. You get denied, and the Ubers are exchanged on a point. Slightly later for Theos, but it doesn't really matter. He's got the flash more. They fade at the same time, and the positioning is just there for MANDEM. They've got the point under control. It's whether or not they can also control lobby and all of the exits that it has. And unfortunately, they cannot quite. And they won't be able to hang on to this point for too long as Fancy gets pushed off of it as well. Does get a nice little pipe to clean up Griggs once again, but that's probably all he's got to do. He's gonna have to waltz away and give up some ground for the time being. Bud trying to bomb in once more, but won't get the kill just yet. Blank gets cleaned up in the meantime, and it's just an endless fight, never really quite ending. They find Hans finally as well, and perhaps this is what Epic Gaming finally needs to keep momentum going forward.
Yeah, they're trying to get a threat behind Frog already. Midpoint getting capped up, and still one spawner waiting over on the MANDEM side, so if this spawn gets denied, maybe there's a chance to start walking a little bit further. It does as well. Haunts going to be a few more seconds away from this one. There's Uberchargers coming up. Actually, Theos has built a tiny bit of an advantage here. I'm not sure if they're really aware of this, but they're bumping in regardless. Bud taken down. Bit of a bloodbath here in the low ground. Bud, oh, Theos uses Uber and everyone's died.
Yeah, he drops everyone and then uses, that's almost worse than dropping yourself, but at least he got out anyway. For a while. It dies anyways.
That's basically a drop. That's
yeah.
Identical. In fact, that's worse than a drop because that's a drop, but like 10 seconds after you would have dropped.
Late. I mean, you get a late ass spawn now, so it just gets worse.
Nightmares.
It was bad and it just keeps getting worse for Epic Gaming, but at least they were on mid, so they certainly have a little bit of time to stabilize. A cheeky little frag onto Boulder is always possible. They have the sniper up on Yarlin once more as well, so... Well, they had the sniper. Obviously, not anymore, but, you know, there was a chance there, and they have a chance to hold on to last year. They won't have an Uber, but if they hold this tightly enough, and if MANDEM lacking blank for the start of this push is enough to hold them back, then there's certainly an opportunity. Nice headshot, rung off onto Fancy immediately just before he gets flashed, so that already makes him a little bit of a squishier target. There you go, taken care of immediately. No demo to worry about for this last point. Now you just got to worry about the rest of these players swarming all over it, and Crafty's doing a mighty fine job shutting down the point with the help of his team. Finally, they take care of that heavy, but it's already too little too late, perhaps? I don't know, they've gotten a lot of frags.
Oh, double kill!
But Zams is a monster, and he just wins those.
That's absolutely crazy from Zams. That was looking so damn good for the MANDEM side until that double kill with the stickies. They just grouped up slightly too much up on that high ground in front of the point. Great debt there coming in from the Epic Gaming demo, and he's literally round saving, because I think otherwise the Soldier was that Griggs behind the point would have been in dire trouble. And yeah, Soldier and Scout versus Demo is never going to end well for the Demo in that sort of situation. So again, another failed Ugrad last push attempt coming in from the MANDEM side, but this time at least they killed Theos, so it's going to be an even Uber situation as Crafty goes down in trade for Haunts, and the speed doesn't let up at all because there's still aggression coming in the second one, but 3 players now have fallen on the MANDEM side on this way, and Fancy is really deep in as well, and he's going to go down also. And they're going to have to back out here.
Yeah, they do find a couple of frags as a consolation, right? Butt did go down. They find a late frag onto Griggs as well, so at least they're still slowing down Epic Gaming a bit, but a Soul Scout trying to fight this midpoint is certainly not going to have an easy time. Blank, I respect him for trying, but the point will flip, even if Epic Gaming has to give up some ground now, and the Uber actually gets forced out of Theos? How did that happen? That's a curious one. Boulder almost died there as well. I don't know what happened there, but he's alive for the time being. They're going to have an Uber ready soon enough. If he doesn't get dropped somehow, and he's dropping all of his team as we speak. They're all dying. He's still not in a very good position either, health-wise. It's kind of dire for MANDEM, despite the Uber they have, despite the point presence they can now project. They do have to use it eventually to try and get across, and if Epic Gaming does a good job kiting it, they might be in a good position. That being said, Theos does get caught, and
that's the important one.
Yeah, that's a very important one right there. If you're gonna use an Uber like that, that's what you want, and unfortunately Boulder can't live it.
Nice play of those two soldiers, Grix and Bud there, but straight in through choke, just cutting off the escape from Cheese instantly, and it just completely locks in Boulder and I believe one of the scouts as well in that Cheese area, and they get the all-important one there onto Boulder, meaning it's going to be a mild advantage for Theos when they come up, but is it going to be an advantage when they're stuck on their own last? Because that's an advantage on your own last often isn't really an advantage at all, and what on earth is Fancy cooking up?
He's being a bit cheeky, maybe expecting, because of the ad, that somebody on Epic Gaming feels ever so slightly keen, a bit too ambitious perhaps, to go into lobby. Unfortunately, Fancy looks to be the one that's too ambitious and just narrowly escapes.
At least he lives.
A deadly rocket, a deadly exchange with Bud. Neither of them dying there, but could have gone wrong for either of them. As Crafty picks up the rifle, looking to perhaps make a difference here. Nah, you gotta hit those, man. You gotta hit those for the frag video. Oh well, the Sentry gets it. The Sentry cleans him up, and Once didn't get anything done. But you gotta hit those, man.
It's worth a try on the early bomb in, but yeah, when you get launched up into the skybox like that, sometimes it can be perfect for landing a sink, but other times you just get juggled up and up and up into the skybox, and you're never going to get anything more than a 48 damage rocket down onto that medic. But I'll see now the opportunity is used. Inzo ran back to the spawn and has changed over onto the sniper class. We saw some attempts at this earlier with honestly limited success over on Sultry. It's quite a hard map to snipe into. This, like, you can obviously clear off this top perch up where the medic is played, but beyond that you can't really see too much from the alley side. But actually they're just taking a ton of spam, and Haunts goes down as well. Alright, 2 players down, a sniper's going down also, so alright, never mind, this last push is completely cancelled. Everyone go home and come back next time, because we're going to have an instant push out now coming in from the Epic Gaming side. They're going to get second for free, and they're going to get all their scouts back up, everyone off the off classes, and game time for them.
They're going to be in the driver's seat now. They have the opportunity to bring it back once more. It's still 0-0. 0-0 on both sides. It's been 20 minutes. These teams have been very evenly matched thus far, and, well, getting an early low frag onto Haunts there. Even if you get forced. I mean, Haunts for a force is certainly a good deal. It just depends on whether or not MANDEM managed to make something happen with it, and they get forced themselves. So realistically, I don't know. They're not in a great position to make much use of this Uber. They only killed the very soldier that facilitated it, and I guess Grix somewhere on the other side. But yeah, they still stay in this. They still have the better positioning now, better players. And they certainly have a chance to maybe make it back to last, but they gotta fight their way through this. There's no way Epic Gaming giving this up for free. Yalan already getting the frag onto Lardox. Haunts also dangerously low once more. The rest of the team soon to make their way out as Fancy gets killed, Inzo as well. It is not looking good for MANDEM already. They have to get back out of there. And Haunts gets caught as well. It's falling apart. It's crumbling.
Yeah, absolutely, and going to be potentially a couple of players denied in these forwards. I think Fancy Inzo might just be getting their forward in time, but it's like, even if you get the forwards here, Theos is going to have Uber, and it's still about a 25 ad, so there is potential here that players could get caught if they stay too far in. So respectfully, MANDEM says they decide to leave. They decide to get themselves back out onto last and just get themselves set up, try and slow down this push forward, and eventually just a little bit. But the soldiers already want to try and come in. Bud is going to be the first one down, and Grix too. And Yarlin, alright, never mind, we're back to back. 3 players dying on last. So are we just going to get a reverse the previous situation?
Seeing a lot of deja vus and mistakes being done by both teams over and over. It's a very curious way of approaching it, I suppose. But hey, you gotta give MANDEM a chance now again, right? Gotta keep the back and forth going. Gotta make sure that works out. Gotta have Yalan on the spy, although he's just checking. He's not actually committing to walking out of the forward spawn just yet. But we'll see. We'll see whether or not he decides to. He does. He's going to be disguising as a friendly sniper. That is actually a very curious one. You got to give them a little bit of a scare with the sniper, perhaps, and then commit to it. Never mind, he's a soldier now. He's a soldier now. I can't read, or whatever. Doesn't matter. They're going for the spy play. We'll see how well that works. It's certainly refreshing to not see Bud doing it for once.
I suppose what happens if you're on the MANDEM team and you see 3 enemy soldiers? I'm not sure that's because they're not seeing much of anything at the moment because Jarlan is currently just hiding in a little cubby waiting for the cloak and dagger to recharge. Always, that's the downside, of course, of the cloak and dagger versus stock invis watch. You have to be very, very slow, but you're also not rushed as you are with the stock invis watch. You don't have to go for these risky decloaks or ammo pickups or such. And Jarlan is now in perfect position. Oh,
no!
the miss! The fail stab! Oh, it's so close.
The gun couldn't clean it up either. You'll hate to see it, and immediately the rest of the team crumbles behind it as well. The Uber gets forced out of Theos, alone with Crafty trying to just make an escape at this point, basically. And no Uber used just yet for the side of MANDEM either. Boulder still has his, and it's looking like a very nice opportunity for MANDEM to keep this rolling forward. Sure, they're spawners for Epic Gaming. They might slow them down a little bit on second, maybe be cheeky. Grix gets in beautifully to get that force onto Boulder. So crucial. The only thing keeping them in this, as Fancy gets caught out by Zams as well before the latter dies himself. But still, that's keeping them in this. That's the only way. The only way Epic Gaming stay in this is getting that force there.
Yeah, now they can actually start looking to barge their way back into the second point. Bud already going behind into Cheese, fighting with Lardox. There's Crafty winning the fight against Inso, so 1 for 1 so far as Horns is actually just still in enemy elbow, just spamming rockets down into that alleyway and doesn't find any frags, but buys a heck of a lot of time for these reinforcements to come in from the MANDEM side. Lardox the one now to bomb in, but is denied very, very nicely. Second point capped up. Fancy going to be getting caught out with Ubercharge used, and Boulder, because that Ubercharge was used so much later over on MANDEM previously, they don't have an Ubercharge to counter with yet. So now they're going to have to just stay steady, try and keep their players alive, try and keep safe, but Grix is the one trying to stop that from happening and gets the kill. Boulder, I think, created there's that last tiny bit of damage. It's a really important frag onto that medic now, as Epic Gaming, they can start looking to walk forward. There's no Ubercharge for a long, long time for Boulder. This should have been ad for MANDEM.
Yeah, no, they would have had. I mean, Boulder was like close to having as well. It was like 10% off or something. So it was really, really close actually. That once more Grix manages to get in there, just about managed to take that medic out of the equation and give Epic Gaming a prime opportunity themselves, a great chance to actually take this into last for once. Not much can stand before them, and there's not even much of a defense mounted on last just yet either. Inzo just now switching to the NG, second being capped off. Uber is ready for the side of Epic Gaming. They're gonna opt to go in through lower. Big bomb in immediately by Zams. They try to grab as much ground as they possibly can. Sentry's on level 1 taken care of instantaneously as well. Now it's gonna be onto the frags. Can they get enough of them, or at least enough damage to deny the point? Certainly one onto Lardox helps, but there's still a very tanky heavy to deal with, and Inzo has not taken too much damage just yet. The longer he lives, the harder this gets, and unfortunately, off the tail end of that, you cannot continue to push. You have to call it off. Now Boulder has Uber as well, and it's going to slow down a little bit more. They're not going to push out, perhaps, just yet. Crafty does go down, and MANDEM are feeling keen, but they have to be careful here as well. It's only one player. It could very well be a lot of cheeky hiding spots, but nah, nobody in Epic Gaming committing to that. They want to play the time just as much. They want to play it safe. They're going to get their own Uber ready and fight another day.
Yeah, well, we say about getting an Uber up. Theos is still 30% away, and this beam over on MANDEM is already in on mid. Fancy, Blank, Lardox, all there on this midpoint trying to cap it up, and they've managed to force out the entire Epic Gaming team. Theos is going to have an Uber to fight with on second, but 2 points have been given up now towards MANDEM. There's still 3 minutes left, so this is still anyone's game. 0-0, no rounds found for 27 minutes here on Sultry, despite many attempts at full Uberers into last. Horns in onto the medic, massive nuke, big damage, the drop comes in. Horns, so many free shots with that rocket launcher, and one of them is all it really takes. Theos goes down, and that could be decisive. Like I say, 2.5 minutes left to play, and it's full ad.
Surely, there is no way MANDEM mess up this last push this time around, right? They gotta take second still as well, but there's no way Epic Gaming are going to be defending that one for very long. They're going to be trying to mount a last hold as best they can here, and they're still down a soldier with Grix just now spawning. Crafty picking up the rifle, Sentry being built as well. There are chances to hold this, but it's going to be on MANDEM to lose it somehow, to have it slip away. Sentry taken care of immediately, Spawn being trapped as best they can as well, but the Pyro's there to air blast them away, and they haven't found any frags just yet as the Uber is faded. Damage is being dealt to both sides, but it's not enough onto the side of Epic Gaming. MANDEM are losing players. Laudax goes down. There goes Hans as well. Blank very dangerously low. Hans not looking too healthy. Sorry, Inzo. Keeps messing me up with that damn name tag. It's only Fancy and Boulder left, and neither of them are gonna do much here with Fancy basically stuck in the spawn door. Sure, they found Theos at the end there, but does it really matter if you wipe on a last push?
I've got a question for you, right? I've not been keeping count too well, but like if you combine both teams this one map on Sultry, how many failed Uber ad last pushes have there been? I think at least 4.
Yeah, no, at least
like 2
I want to say maybe even
more.
5.
Yeah,
or
I've
6.
genuinely lost count. Like, I don't know. I know Sultry's a hard map to push, right? But like, you don't normally see this many back-to-back failed last push attempts. Like, both teams have had chances, and that was as good of a chance as any. It was like 90 ad. They had so much time to work with, but again, it's just not going to work out. Y'all are trading in that choke point on the way in. 2 players actually going down, never mind, for the MANDEM side. They're going to have to start retreating a little bit. Well, 50 seconds left. You know, it's going to be a hard push for either of these teams to get around on the board unless something goes seriously wrong here on this midpoint. And we might be going to Golden Cap number 2. 40 seconds left as midpoint's being capped up. I guess it's technically possible if something crazy happens, but there's no need. There's new charge coming up from Boulder. There's no excuse for losing this should it happen. I really think this is going to be Golden Cap number 2 for this match.
Yeah, there's no way Epic Gaming can lose, so they might as well send it forward. And MANDEM, well, if they just hold S, they probably can't lose anymore either. This has been the least stalemate-y 0-0 I've seen in a long time. Like, there's almost been no stalemate or, you know, downtime. It's just fight after fight after fight of teams messing up repeatedly, and then the other team tries to benefit off of it. But it's still 0-0 at the end of the day. That's what matters. The scoreline is what counts, not how well you did during it. And we're going to another Golden Cap.
Yeah, I would say that's how. Like, I think both teams probably had equal chances in terms of like their actual pushes and such. But again, like it's rough when so many failed pushes have come through. Like you always think, oh, if just this one would have worked, or if on this one push, if one thing had gone differently. Like, it is such fine margins, but again, maps like Sultry, like they're notoriously hard to get in onto these last points, notoriously low scoring, and yeah, sometimes you get matches like this where again there's loads of back and forths around the midpoint. Both teams getting loads of great opportunities into lobby, into last, and even like drops happening, and yeah, it's just never quite enough.
It's a damn shame for both teams, and if it continues on the Golden Cap now, I don't know. I'll be very exhausted. I'm sure the gamers will be as well, so I suppose we'll see how they decide to handle things going forward, and whether, you know, all this stalemating was just a warm-up. Maybe one team is just going to absolutely roll the Golden Cap now, right? Maybe all it takes is a disastrous mid out of one of the teams, and then I think it immediately turns the tide, right?
That's always how it goes, right? Is you have like a really tense, close fought, like back and forth in the regulation, and then Golden Cap lasts 1.5 minutes. And it's over. Like, one team just gets wiped, and then before like the entire like 6 players have spawned again, there's already a demo trapping the spawn, so like it's just done instantly. But yeah, I'll throw you the question based on this match. We've got 60 seconds until we're going to be going live. We're hearing. So, what are your thoughts? Who do you think takes Golden Cap based on what we've just seen?
I mean, if this was Process, I'd say obviously Epic Gaming. You know, like if we were to travel back like an hour in time now. But this map was so much more evenly matched, it's genuinely impossible to tell. Both teams messed up so much trying to push last. I don't even think it's necessarily that the other team's holds were incredible necessarily, right? It's just that the pushes were so not on point on both sides as well. They're evenly matched. They're so evenly matched that it's almost impossible to call. All it takes is a crucial play going in favor of either team. Maybe, you know, we haven't seen much of it this map, but maybe a spoon landing on a crucial target at the right time. That could swing it.
Yeah, Boulder's been safe from the spoon this map so far, so I'm gonna jinx it there. Boulder might not be safe from the spoon for much longer.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Maybe a fast rollout by one of the soldiers, aka Bud, is all it takes for MANDEM to feel the pain of that shovel hitting them once more. But I guess we'll see as both demos make their way forward to the midpoint slightly faster for Zams, but only very so slightly. And That's not really what matters nowadays anyway, as the rest of the team is what is needed to fight a mid, not just the demos. And they are taking it slow. Bud going across for a bomb immediately. They find Zams in the meantime on the other side. Grix trying to follow up his soldier friend as well, obviously. Both soldiers now swapped around on either sides, and it's a bit of a chaotic situation, but frags are falling in the favor mostly of MANDEM before finally some responses come out of Epic Gaming, and it's actually looking like it will be a very even matchup for the tail end of this fight. Lardox versus Crafty, both of them on the beam. Surely a matchup that you would think favors the scout in some situations. Unfortunately for Crafty, he ran out of ammo. And that's going to be Theos running for his life.
Oh, Theos is in trouble.
Yeah, very much so. How? How does Lardox not manage? I guess Zams is a monster, but surely Lardox had an extra rocket there, right? Like another millisecond would have been all it took. That's
crazy.
Incredible.
Fine
Incredible.
margins,
they hang on
fine
to
margins again.
Yeah.
Once more, they want to fight this. Epic Gaming, they're thinking, you know what? Late getting to Lardox there. We want to fight this. We want to take the exchange onto mid before the cap comes through and deny these forward spawns. And they have done that so far, but now we're just into mid fight number 2 pretty much. Lardox still taking a few more seconds to roll out. So in the meantime, the Epic Gaming side, they can start bombing in. Inzo and Bud trade out both on the low ground. Horns is in behind all the way in enemy cheese, but here in mid-fight number 2, it seems to be going the way of Epic Gaming so far with the demo pick over onto Fancy. But Zams trades out again, and we are just even. This is just even forever, I guess. This midpoint can never be capped.
Yep, it's never going to change hands. It just won't happen. We will be here for the rest of all eternity, except it looks like Epic Gaming managed to cap it, and then Lardox bombs across.
And they lose it instantly.
They managed to immediately kill Grix as Theos has to run away once more. A little bit of an ad now as well for Bold. He's been able to build a little bit faster after that Uber exchange, but it's not too much to write home about. It looks like we finally will change the stage though. We're not gonna be on mid anymore. We're gonna be on second for the time being. MANDEM making their way forward. Maybe wanting to use that ad a little bit, but they gotta be aware Theos is close as well, and obviously they're gonna go for the exchange of anything here, as so many players might be gaming in the lobby, not even trying to protect any ground anywhere else, and it's going to be down to who pops first. It will. Looks like it was Epic Gaming as Theos drains slightly quicker and they catch whoever's not in the Uber, aka Grix. But obviously going down early as well. It's looking more and more like MANDEM might have this one secured for the time being.
Oh, there's only 3 players. There's a couple of spawners coming in. Lardox bombing in already as well. Theos in big trouble. Big looking in from Horns is not quite going to be enough. Theos, 25 HP, is going to fight on for another day and is going to be able to push out with the rest of the team. That was so sketchy there for a moment, but MANDEM couldn't quite land those final shots. It was a great effort, because I've got to say, in these positions, in these games where like these ad pushes into last aren't working, the other way you can push is when you get them in transition like that, and maybe a couple of frags going their way could have been enough, but now the momentum is just completely flipped. Epic Gaming now bursting their way in onto this midpoint, and there's Horns to deal with, maybe getting a kill into Crafty, know who's able to get out and live, and that's a midpoint flipping it the way of the red.
Yeah, they are going to be in the driver's seat now. Again, Uber is mostly equal anyway, and it's probably just going to be another exchange on second, but there's always a chance. There's always a chance that this one could go better for Epic Gaming than the last one did for MANDEM, as the Ubers are exchanged, shiny players all around, a little bit of flashing here and there, trying to slip in behind Epic Gaming, trying to cut perhaps off anybody escaping for the side of MANDEM, but all they do is trade out blank for Grix, and
look at the space though, they took so much space with that lobby presence.
They do get second off it, it is true. They're gonna have to hold on to it though as well, and MANDEM are gonna have a word with that. Soldiers trying to take as much ground as they can. Lardox does get cleaned up, but Hans bombs in, lots of damage. They do take down Zams, and they also find Bud. Okay, fair enough. Two for 2. Now it's gonna be down to whether this transition actually works out for MANDEM. And right now they lose Fancy. Theos is completely in no man's land. What? Where is my man? What? Get him out of there! What is he doing there?
Oh, to be fair, yeah, like Crafty came around to help out, but just 5 seconds beforehand, Theos was just collecting the pack in lobby with no one around anywhere near. So yeah, miracle that Theos isn't getting caught out there. But well, maybe it's genius. Maybe they knew all along where all the MANDEM players were able to play around that. But actually, off the back of that, I know it was scrappy and it was a mess, but it is mission success if you're Epic Gaming. They got the second point eventually. It did take a long time. There was a lot of back and forth. It looked very dodgy at moments, but they made their way in.
They secured it, they ruled it now, and now they have to try and get into last with Yalin back up on the sniper already. Ready to maybe make a difference here. Blank obviously counter-sniping on the other side, Sentry going up as well for MANDEM, so they're in this for the long run, perhaps. As a nice little airshot by Grix onto a soldier trying to slip on through, and, you know, just getting away with it. Unfortunately, not getting away with peeking, as Blank has a word with that, and such is life if you're trying to get into a last point as a soldier, unfortunately. We respect the effort. Now it's going to be down to MANDEM whether they wish to be a little bit keen off the back of it, or whether they just wait. They just await what happens, what Epic Gaming tries to do. Happy to burn a little bit of time off the clock. And, I mean, it's gonna be on Epic Gaming, finding an opening here. Giving Yalin the sideline you want. There's not many on this last one, unfortunately. It's just a little bit tougher. Giving yourself a soldier bomb that could work. It's always possible. It's just a matter of, can they pull it off? Can they coordinate it at exactly the right time, however they would need?
Yeah, I guess
right now,
half the battle with like a sniper in this is you force the enemy players to stand where you want them to stand.
Yeah.
Right? Is you can cut out a lot of that. Oh, big bomb in from Bud, who I don't know how. Oh, Bud doesn't live. Okay, I was gonna say how does Bud live that, but is taken down. But yeah, you can lock off so much area. I guess less so on Sultry because like the sight lines are quite narrow, and you can say, right, if we're bombing our soldier room, we know where their players must be. We can force them into disadvantageous positions. But like again, on maps like Sultry, there's so much cover, especially like around like these, the big panel in front of the alley side, and there's like the dip into lower. It's like so hard to get an angle in. It's brutal to peek into, but there's still options, and especially it denies the high ground above where the dispenser currently is.
Is this where you whip out the base jumper as an X factor?
That could happen. You can spam
Bud
the
goes in for the
Bud.
bomb and just nukes Boulder, who just narrowly escapes into the spawn room.
You say that actually. I swear, on alley you can probably wall jump really high, pop the base jumper and spam the sentry gun down. You can get the sentry gun for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. There might be an opportunity for something here. The skybox is very tall on Sultry, so you can maybe get away with something cheeky if you manage to slip in. That being said, after all that, off the back of some sniper picks and everything, nothing comes off it. Nothing comes off it. We're still back to the stalemate for the time being. And,
back in.
Once more, again, a deep
Trying
bomb.
the spoon.
You gotta respect him trying, but unfortunately the sentry's denying too much of his ground. He just can't quite get anywhere. Once he lands back there, he's basically locked in, and even if they find a frag onto Hans now, they lost Crafty as well, and I mean, I don't see MANDEM pushing out in the next minute. It's not happening. They're gonna go for
this
the
is
round
trade
reset.
time. Yeah, this is going to be trade. Yalin is actually staying on sniper rather than using the opportunity to go back to scout. It maybe makes me think they want to go for some more sacks and try and go that way, but it's going to be hard. 47 seconds left. There's still technically some time to get in, and we saw what happened in these chaotic last moments on the process match where we had the big bomb coming in, the big drop Bud coming in, trying to get on this medic again, but the gun once more is all that is needed, and Bud goes down. 30 seconds left. Bud's barely going to be in the fight in time before this round reset comes in. Yalin just not able to find any angles so far. Really well played from MANDEM, who's locking down all these doorways, looking on all these positions as the trade comes in. Blank actually wins the SVS over there against Yalin, so it's going to be a temporary 4v6 on this push in with spawners still on their way through. Zams goes down, and yeah, we are going to a round reset in Golden Cap, unless MANDEM decide to push out, which I'm not sure how advised that is. They will just be going into an even situation on their own second. They decide against it. They're like, you know what, we'll just take the mid fight. They're confident with their mids. I think they've sort of won both of the mids. I'm counting the first Golden Cap mid as a MANDEM win on this map so far. But yeah, 5 minutes left to play it until we potentially have Golden mid fight on the horizon.
Yeah, it's always possible, and it makes you wonder whether Bud's insistence on being a heat-seeking missile towards Boulder was actually his downfall there. You're trying to cover so much ground, trying to get onto that last, the medic is all the way back, you're not going to hit him. Maybe just settle for a lesser target, could have made a difference instead. Oh well, we're back to the mid-fight instead. That's what they got to deal with. Both soldiers bombing across for at least the side of Epic Gaming, as Fancy is going to be the first to fall. Boulder to follow as well. No heals for MANDEM means this mid could very, very quickly turn a complete disaster for them. And they are all so low, with Hans narrowly escaping back to his own last. It is looking like the best opportunity for Epic Gaming we have seen all round. It's going to be down to whether they can actually convert it.
Yeah, what a fantastic mid-fight there from Grix and Bud, landing perfectly timed over there onto the combo. It wasn't just Boulder that went down, pretty much everyone went down over on their side. And with second point being packed up, we must say now, there is no way that Epic Gaming can fail the Uberad last push. There's no way it can't happen. They've got full advantage. Boulder's still yet to hit 50%. The gun's still getting built. There's all the play they want, everything they can ever dream of, and they can start walking their way in through lower. They find the gun up behind the barrels. It's taken down at level 1. It's getting a bit of time on this cap. Yarlin getting a lot of time on this cap, actually, but players to be towards spawn are falling down. Grix has gone down. Bud's going to go for a really high, but I'm going to try and stand at the point. There's so much cap time, but there's not enough players to stand on it. All 6 of them fall. And Epic Gaming, despite what I called, they didn't win the Uberad last push.
I think we need to stop talking about it. We just need to stop mentioning it. We should just act surprised when the push happens and be like, oh, they're gonna push in. Well, let's see how this one goes. Instead of ever talking about it, because I feel like we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment at this point. There is no damn way they're gonna keep getting away with it. But maybe, just maybe, Epic Gaming can turn this around anyway. Sure, there's a full Uber on the side of MANDEM, but they actually have to make use of it and not get forced, as Boulder it takes a lot of damage and finds themselves in a dangerous situation. And they do still have the Yalin forward snipe as well, who has been spotted, and they're not gonna peek his sightlines anymore. But hey, that was a bit of a dangerous position there to potentially unfold, but nah, MANDEM look like they're going to be taking mid for free off the back of it as well. Still no Uber for the side of Epic Gaming either. This could be a full coast to coast before we see Theos get close to one, as Grix goes for the high bomb, manages to sink a little bit of damage onto the combo, but crucially not get a kill. And they still only lose Hans. The momentum is unbelievable right now for MANDEM. They are rolling this all the way to last. No defense is really set up for Epic Gaming just yet either. They didn't even have any time for it. They've got a sniper shutting down Blank, who was not quite ready for it. And they got a
Fancy?
heavy...
The pipes!
No.
Oh, the force!
No way.
Oh, Fancy the skip through, and Lardox there too. Both of them big damage over towards Theo's going to force on the Uber charge, but now the rest of the blue side, they're in frog. They have to use the Uber to defend the second point, and it's not going to be ad after all. They're going to have to run back in, and the Uber charge actually gets no kills at all. They just delay the cap on second. They're going to try and wrap this potentially go for some sort of scrappy fight on the second point, and it's really not going in their favour at all. Inzu and Haunts both falling at the cost of Bud on the Epic Gaming side, and they're going to have to run all the way back out, and despite getting that good force, they actually have to use their Uber eventually, and Boulder now is going to be at disad on mid.
Oh, but Theos is also very low,
and
Lardox he's not in a great position. Lardox is even chasing him down and gets that kill, so much for that disad. It won't matter at all. MANDEM are back in control. They've got a full Uber to work with by the time Theo spawns, for sure. And I'm not gonna say anything else after that. I'm just gonna ignore that, and I'm just gonna say, oh look, they're capping second, and there's a bit of a defense being set up on last. I mean, there's a little bit of time Epic Gaming have that. Uber isn't quite there yet. They certainly have a chance to set up on last here, and perhaps hold off this immense force that will be met with momentarily, as everybody on MANDEM gets ready, into position, healed up, looking rearing to go, seeing if they can find this.
Yeah, the gun has just about made it up to level 3, playing next to the barrels this time as the bomb comes in. Fancy blasted across sideways by this gun, which has lived for quite a while, going to be taken down finally as the big high bombs come across from both these soldiers, trying to land on the heavy, and Crafty is taken down. The Pyro on the point, trying to air blast away, but it's going to be hard work. Zams juggled onto the height, is so weak. Haunts might be catching the kill on the way back. Theos is weak too, taken down. Yarlin, last one standing, gonna be falling, and like you say, there is no way that they can fail the Uberad last push, because MANDEM make it work eventually on, what was that, the 7th Uberad push. I've lost count completely.
9 times the charm? I don't know, man.
It happens, and we go to map 3.
That was about as close as you can get with 0-0 without it being too stalematy. I gotta commend the teams.
Yeah, there was one round reset, I think, and that was it, right? There was...
Yeah. They just sucked at pushing, apparently.
That was incredible. Crazy game.
And we are on to our final map of Sunshine.
Yeah, I guess, like, I don't know, sort of the slightly disappointing thing about the last map is that, like, none of the unlocked weapons really got much use. Like, I know there
Yeah.
was attempts to use the Market Gardener, but I don't know, I feel like Boulder was a lot more wise to it, particularly on them last points where Bud was trying to bomb in really aggressively. Like, Boulder was just playing so close to the spawn door, just anticipating it and just ran into spawn. Like, it's all well and good having, like, the big crit shuffle, but, like, if there's a spawn door in the way, like, you physically can't get there. So, that was really well played. Yeah, like you say, the base jumper could have come in, but the more I think about it, like, when there's snipers up on both sides, like, you're just a sitting duck in
Yeah.
the air, right? It's so hard. So it's understandable that they're not getting as much flair as you saw in the game earlier and in the process map in the first game of this series. But we're going to map 3, so it's anyone's game after 2 golden caps. Is he going to be 3 for 3 on golden caps?
I would have never expected that it would get this close in the finals of a little experimental cup, where the only unlocked weapon or only newly unbanned weapon that matters is the Market Gardener. But here we are, and look at those frags. Look at that damage out of Yalin. I don't know how they didn't win with my man putting down performances like that on Scout.
44 and 17.
I mean, Blank still 41 and 21 is still really good as well. But it's quite something.
Yeah, I want to credit Blank actually. Some of those solo Ubers were really, really good. Like, the amount of times like Boulder is just taking in Blank on the solo and just causing so many flashes. Like, a lot of these exchanges, like Blank did super, super well. But on the other side, Yarlin, like, you can't say these scout drops like top DPM in the lobby and goes 44 and 17. That's pretty crazy.
That's just how things go sometimes, I suppose. That's how it goes. Zam's also trying to put the team on his back as best he can, but end of the day, it just went how it went for Epic Gaming, and I don't know how this is gonna go at this point, right? Like, process was rather one-sided. It was still, close. They went to a golden cap, I guess, but it was rather one-sided. Sultry was such a close map. It is impossible now. If that's the only data you have to pick from, you could not make an accurate prediction. It's as close to a 50-50 as it gets headed into Sunshine now. That I think the only factor that you could possibly account for, if you knew it, would be fatigue. What's the stamina for these gamers? How are they holding up? Because they're going quickly as well, right? There's no long breaks between these maps or anything. They're rearing to go, so I don't know, man. I don't know. It's anybody's game still. It's anybody's game.
Yeah, an hour and 30 into the grand final, and there's still another map to play because we've had the double golden cap. And honestly, we're talking about, like, so I mentioned before, right? Sultry is a map known for the last is hard to push into. There's been games in Prem last season on Sunshine which have had some ridiculous, like, uber disad last holds, like, that are just coming through every time. So, like, there's a potential to see more of the same in that regard, but we can see if either of these teams are going to learn their lessons, see if we're going to have a bit more of a high-scoring game on map number 3. We're on to Sunshine, and then it's still there over in the blue. There's Epic Gaming is in the red as the bombs come flying in, no rest at all on the start of this mid. Everyone is getting destroyed on both these teams, but one player up are the red side of Epic Gaming. They withstand the bombs just well enough to keep Theos alive, and Blank took quite a bit. Blank's actually going to run to Medic for this last match. That's maybe one thing to note. They're going serious.
They're going serious. They're putting Boulder on Scout
but
as
Blank
well.
was the Scout who went 44 and 17 last map.
They need an even bigger X factor. They need a bigger X factor than that, apparently. They need Boulder back on his main as well. They are locking in. The child gloves are off for MANDEM. They're trying their best here. And, well, so far it's lost them a mid. But, that's not too much to write home about, I guess. As they hold on to second, get a couple of frags as well. Maybe get the force onto Theos immediately. Enzo slips in like that, and, well, they're right back in the driver's seat. Just like that. He gets out, he lives, everything is looking hunky-dory. Okay, Enzo does get killed eventually. But it's looking hunky-dory pretty much for MANDEM right now, as long as they can keep Blank alive and actually make use of that Uber ad as soon as their players spawn, which it's going to take a while. They are on the defensive side at the end of the day. Those spawners are quite long. So they're going to have to burn a little bit of that Uber ad again before they even have a chance to use it. And at this point, how passive they got to be for it, maybe, just maybe, they won't They're already 50% again on the side of Epic Gaming. There was absolutely no aggression to try and follow it up. Just too many players going down for the force.
Yeah,
Wasn't really making it work.
Greeks won that really important 1v1 in Cafe. Like, if
Yeah.
Greeks fall was there, it's a 5v5 and you push can come straight in. But as it stands, like you mentioned, Theos is still 20% away from getting this Uber charge. So there is just about time to work their way in. Greeks getting caught out on the flank too, and the point is capped up. So on MANDEM's side, they've got the point, but they've maybe not got as much as they were really hoping for. This was a full ad, let it be known, but just those 2 players going down and Inzo's still in a late spawner as well is going to mean it's going to be even situations over towards this second point. As spawners come in and the bombs come flying through. Horns with the spoon out is just about going to miss. Great attempt, flying through the choke. But Theos dodges and weaves and lives to fight another day.
That's the counterplay you got to get used to. It was very much close, but it was good enough, and there's no room for error with the spoon. You know, with rockets you get some splash, you can maybe still juggle them about. The spoon is you hit or you miss. There's no in between. So I guess that's the nature of it. It's the risk reward associated with it, and it looks like there's actually going to be just an Uber out of MANDEM as they try to take it through choke. Obviously a lot later and a lot better for Epic Gaming. Nobody dropped in it either. It's just a Grix that is respawning now, so yeah, pretty equal at the end, and it's going to be down to the dry fight as both soldiers jump in from MANDEM. The spoon comes out. Zams is the first to fall to a spoon on this map, and well, maybe that's all it takes to open things up. They do lose a couple players on their own side.
Theos now!
Crucially. But the entire team on MANDEM is dead, though. I don't know what happened.
This?
They're all dead.
I'm so confused.
They're just gone. You know, it's Balder's around. Yeah, I mean he's a force to be reckoned with, and Theos is the only one dead.
Zams, I guess.
Maybe, I suppose it's an option. He does have more than 100 health, so he can eat up pipe, but he loses. Zams wins those. He's just built different.
That's a really big fight to win as well. Like, if Zams goes down there, this really like stalls the push so much.
Yeah.
But with Zams living, and Blank's still 11 seconds away from the spawn with Boulder. Did Blank die again? Did I?
He must have.
Did
Yeah,
I miss that?
must
Blank must have died again, surely.
I
missed that completely.
Did not pay attention to that either, but he must have died somehow, because there's no way he would have had a like 25-second spawner. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, but that obviously puts MANDEM in a very dire situation as they're trying to hold their last nail. Theos up on almost 70% and building, so a nice opportunity for Epic Gaming to try and convert this as a last push. If the rest of this match is any sort of, you know, track record to go by, though, it's nothing to write home about at all. It might as well not exist. As the Uber comes in, they try to take as much ground as they can early. The sentry gets taken down very quickly, but they have to actually find frags as well. As they try to nuke them in the right spawn door, they do find the heavy. They get a lot of cap time, and they convert around. Ladies and gentlemen, it has happened. An Uber push into last was converted into a round in regulation time.
Madness, absolutely unheard of.
I did not know it could happen.
Crazy scenes in Epic Gaming. They've got some redemption from that previous map. MANDEM showed them how it was done in the Golden Cap last time at Epic Gaming. Straight onto the board, 5 minutes into this map number 3, the decider. And Epic Gaming take that 1-0 lead and really well converted from them. And last time the mid was a bit chaotic, and this time it looks chaotic again as Lardok's going to land straight in onto Theos, who's down to 16 HP but living, as we're now into the 4v4. Soldiers on both sides bombing in so deep, but not getting too much for each of them. Yeah, Boulder and Blank gonna have to run back out because there's 2 players extra over on the Epic Gaming side as they're gonna get their spawners in and potentially look to run up straight onto second because it's completely uncontested. There's no one home.
Nobody could be home. They're trying to keep themselves safe on last. They don't want to have anything to do with it whatsoever. And once more, it's gonna be an attempt into last for Epic Gaming. This time around, though, MANDEM has an Uber of their own to respond with. They've got a little bit more time to get set up and ready. People won't get caught in the spawn door just trying to rotate around, and we even have Boulder picking up the flamethrower. Does he have the gas presser equipped?
Come on,
I highly doubt it.
No, we've got a dream. I'm keeping my eye on Boulder. I want to see. Oh, it's the panic attack.
It's the panic attack. Oh my god, Bud gets a spoon. Bud just slips in and spoons Fancy. I watched that from Fancy's perspective. It was horrifying to witness, honestly, like a soaring eagle. But here we are. Here we are. Yeah, there we go. And that's probably going to open things up at least a little bit for Epic Gaming for the time being. Fancy does come back up on the spawn eventually, but it's given them so much ground on the side of Epic Gaming already. They've gotten so much presence on this last point for free. Lardax goes down as well. They take so much damage, though. Fancy coming in, dealing so much. Finally, a frag cleaned up with Grix going down. Somehow, everybody else dangerously low. Bud eats a pipe for breakfast, but it's not going to be enough for MANDEM to push out of unless Hans gets a crazy force. Crazy force right here. Nope. Okay, it's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah, good movement there from Theos. Able to evade. Never was really too much in danger in HP terms, around the 90 health mark at the time that Horns died. But good attempt. I like the counter-attack attempt there. No soldiers up to deny those chokes in lobby, so I've got a fair bit of space for free. But yeah, well dealt with from the Epic Gaming side. Now it's their turn to start launching players in. Bud the first one in as usual, but he's cleaned up this time by the gun of Inso, so that might stall things slightly. With one frag going back onto Horns, it's soldier for a soldier, so Epic Gaming, they still want to barge in.
And they are making as much use of it as they can. They've already grabbed 2 frags, pretty crucial ones as well. Even if they lose Grix on their own side, they're still rearing to have something happen. Neither medic having to use the Ubers just yet either. They're just dry fighting this as best they can and getting so much point presence as possible, at least, as Bud tries to jump on. Grix again. No, sorry, that wasn't Grix, that was Yalin jumping in. I mean, gotta respect the attempts. They're not willing to use their Ubers for it whatsoever. Neither are they giving them enough on the side of MANDEM to push out of at the end of the day, right? So they're kind of just playing with their food a little bit, seeing what they can get away with. Putting Yalin back on the sniper. At least a better map to try it on than Sultry, perhaps. But still,
it's
tough
still
angles
hard.
to get.
It's still hard on Sunshine. Like it depends where the medic's playing, right? But again, it's got the similar kind of problem of the chokes are so narrow. And there are sight lanes you can use, but like they're so spammable. Yalin getting the first of these sight lanes here on this far left angle as 2 soldiers bomb through. Bud with the spoon out, trying to get the kill into Horns. Is just about going to live. Getting juggled all over the shop there into lower. But in the meantime, this is giving Yalin a fair few shots here in through this far left side, but nothing going to fall into his grasp so far as he has to back up. Just wait for this respawner on Grix and maybe go to push again. But we've quietly been sat here over 3 minutes now. And the round reset timer sort of maybe starts appearing in people's minds at this point.
Yeah, they haven't even used Ubers on any of these, I'm pretty sure. They've just been sitting there doing raw dogging this stuff without a damn Uber. I mean, I respect it. They don't want to risk anything they don't have to. Now, obviously, with the sniper on the Epic Gaming side, they're not going to do anything until they get at least a pick out of it. Or Bud maybe finds another spoon of some kind, but for the time being, they just got to wait on that. And I mean, MANDEM are obviously keen to wait for
that's
that.
A pick.
Fancy going down to the sniper is a pretty important pick, though, and I think that may very well be the impetus they need. Oh, Hans gets taken down as well. They're giving Yalin way too much. He finds the third onto Inzo as well. The Uber comes out of blank as they try to protect the point as best they can. Theos hasn't even had to pop yet. They finally kill the sniper as Boulder is cleaned up. The Uber comes out for Epic Gaming, and it is a massacre into the 2-0.
That's all on the back of one player. That's Yalin just absolutely popped off. Credit to the rest of the team for making the space and allowing for it, but when your sniper walks in and hits 3 headshots like that, the round's yours.
You just deserve it, yeah.
Great play from Yalin again. You said last map was maybe disappointed to have such great stats and not get the win, but certainly pulling out all the stops here on map number 3, and it's got a really, really good highlight clip there on that last portion. These mids have looked pretty damn good as well for the Epic Gaming side, but this time they're going to rotate the opposite way around, and it might be potentially spooked by a Horns jumping in from choke. Nope, Yalin perfectly aware of it, as the full rotation comes in, sides are swapped. And we reach the halfway point of this mid, and they're still rotating around.
It's an everlasting spiral, back and forth. Eventually, everything's gonna have rotated back to where it started, which we're getting to at this point. We're getting there. Bud is gonna be the first to fall finally, but everybody on MANDEM is so low, ready to be cleaned up. Unfortunately for them, on the side of Epic Gaming, nobody's there to clean it up. They're all dead. They've all died, and look at that, MANDEM has won a mid for once. The kids' gloves came off when they decided to swap Boulder back onto the scout, but certainly you could have argued that it might have been a little bit too late, as they're now down 2 rounds, trying their best to get back into this match. Uber gets forced out of fields as they try to somehow get a frag out of it. Finally, Blank forced to use himself. Obviously, way better of an Uber from MANDEM here as they try to clean up anything straggling, anything red in front of them. And, well, doing an okay job at it, but they do lose Blank in the end, and that's what matters.
It's a better Uber, but the end on the low ground just behind the tower, and they're sort of caught in two minds. They're going to end towards Valley, they're going to end towards Concrete, and they just sort of end up in the middle, and Blank gets completely caught out. But on the flip side of that, there are 5 players down, so this is potentially drive findable. They can just burst in and it might not matter. It doesn't matter because Boulder, Fancy, and the rest of the gang are all on the last point quick enough, and yep, it's all well and good you kill the medic on second, but if you lose all the rest of your team in doing so, it doesn't really matter. So quick bounce back there from MANDEM, 2-0 down, back to 2-1 in, what was that, less than 3 minutes for sure. And still over half this game to go, and what a change of pace this game has been compared to Sultry. Rounds coming in thick and fast here on Sunshine, and yeah, Sultry, we had the big 0-0. So here we go, mid-fight number 4. Seems like it's going to be clockwise mids again for both these teams. It worked out well for MANDEM last time. Will it work out well again? Horn's going for the same play towards Friendly Cafe, and he's actually going to just about maybe miss the timing to catch people on the rotate through, but everyone so far just standing tall.
It's a curious one. Once more a bit slow. Finally the first frag again falling in favor of MANDEM, but they do find Hans immediately on the other side. Perhaps he gets taken care of as well though. MANDEM slowly but surely winning the war of attrition, getting the frags they need to. And,
oh, they're caught in Cafe.
Looking around with it. Oh, they did get a couple of frags that were crucial there. At least Lardox goes down, so they find a bit of a consolation, but it's gonna be down to
Boots in.
Gonna be down to this bomb. That's not gonna happen. 2 health, that's not gonna happen. Yalen gets shut down as well. Never mind. They have this on lock right now. MANDEM have locked in. They needed a wake-up call with those 2 rounds, and now they're locked in.
Is no one? No, they're not locked in because Grix literally walks in behind everyone. They are anything but locked in. They are away with the fairies completely. He literally waddles in. There's no bomb at all. Just walks in, 2 rockets the medic, and gets the kill. That is unreal. That is allowed to happen. Just nobody was watching the stairs.
They were dilly-dallying. Never mind. They're back to dilly-dallying. They're not locked in. It is so over. And I don't know how they even get second off the back of that. They should be ashamed. Honestly, if I was MANDEM, I would concede the second point. I would be ashamed of that.
So bad.
They're hanging on to it, to be fair. They're getting fragged.
And Theos is getting caught in lower as well. This has actually worked out to perfection. They're going to win the round off this, you know it. They're going to get it. There's only Grix alive. This should not... Can we retroactively take this round away? Like, can the Admins do that?
This is like the worst round of TF2 I've ever seen. Blank even saying in chat, all planned. This was part of the master plan. Either this is a strategy so advanced that nobody can comprehend it, or I've just witnessed the worst TF2 I've ever seen. Either way, we're next mid fight. It's 2-0. We're halfway done with the map. It's like nothing ever happened. Here we go. Epic Gaming have to find their way back into this because they have been stumbling quite a little bit down the hill now. As the mids rotate once more, classic clockwise way around as Hans is the only one left behind in his own choke, seeing if he can maybe be a little bit cheeky here with some spam as Bud makes his way across. It lands directly on top of the table. Lots of damage to the combo. Blank gets taken down. Inzo gets taken down as well. They've lost a couple on the other side though, with Zams going down crucially. But Blank means no heals, and Balder gets taken care of. Hans gets taken care of. As long as Theos can stave off Fancy here, it is an easily 1 mid for Epic Gaming. And there's no way Fancy is fancying his chances. He does bomb in. I respect the balls, but you know, that's a lost battle to begin with.
Yeah, you gotta respect the effort, right? It's one of those, you're gonna be on last anyway. I guess there's a chance to put some like silly trap up on second, but they're gonna get cleared. Like these scouts, Yellen and Craft, they know what they're doing. They're gonna be diligent, and yeah, Fancy goes in for the hero play, but is not gonna be the hero on this day, at least on that moment, because now it's gonna be 70% advantage. Theos, big Uber push on the way in. Surely we've seen turns of fate. I don't want to speak too soon, but the last pushes from Epic Gaming have been better. Are we going to see more of the same? Gun taken down early. Spawn getting trapped as well, but the players rotating around to the left-hand side now for the defense. Oh, big kills onto Inzo, but Bud, Zam's falling, the heavy lives. Yarlin last up, and it's because I casted cursed it. That's why. I'm sorry. I apologize to Epic Gaming. I should never have said it.
We need to somehow condition ourselves to just never bring it up. There's something about it, man. Something about the karmic justice that gets brought down.
To be fair, Epic, they've not. That's the first last push they've beefed this map. To be
Yeah,
fair,
that's
to be fair, like on Sunshine, they've been very good at it. It's just both teams obviously struggled through the previous map.
Anyway, MANDEM back in the driver's seat. It's an opportunity for them, though, full Uber to deal with. And as long as they can keep it clean, keep it nice, they have a chance to roll this even to second. Hans does go down, though. Lardox just now meeting up with his team as well. Everybody for the side of MANDEM, matter of fact, was in Cafe for a minute there before they really decided to actually go and cap the point. Maybe, you know, secure what you've got instead of getting too ahead of yourself when you're already down a player. And with how much time they've taken now, with how much time they've bought themselves on the side of Epic Gaming, Theos is going to have an Uber again. So we could be looking at an exchange on second tier instead of just a straight roll in. And,
well, Fancy's caught.
Yeah, it does get killed. They trade him out for Bud, effectively, as the rest of the team on MANDEM not looking too healthy either. Matter of fact, they're just going to go for the Uber. Balder tries to take it across. Obviously, Theo's responsive his own, and they maybe managed to even cut off Blank. He does get juggled. He gets caught in the corner. That is a crucial frag to get as the Uber fades. Now Theos just has to stay alive, and he does.
That was crazy from Theos. Theos is running out to lower lobby, eats the rocket, and swings all the way around onto Catwalk just to avoid the rockets. Really, really nice play there from Theos, because Theos, I thought, was a dead man, to be honest, there at the end of that mid. It was like 30 or 40 HP after that direct rocket, and just swings it all the way around. Really nice plays, and yeah, Tale of Two Medics. Blank is getting caught in two mines on that rotate around, and Boulder gets out of Uber fine. It's just the medic in tow was not there, and this time it's going to be Theos again taking a lot of damage coming into that mid. Has to run back to Cafe, but Blank, as you say, he's actually taken down.
He should have held W there, man. That was such a long rocket. You had a chance to avoid that one. That's unfortunate. Oh well, Blank taken down once more, giving Theos, handing him yet another full Uber ad, as long as they can keep him in it, and they don't! Fancy sneaks in the pipe that requires the cleanup. And there you go. MANDEM stay in this anyway. The medics don't even matter anymore at this point. They're just cannon fodder. They're distractions, they're flashbangs that you send out before you send in the real guns. And right now, MANDEM seem to be winning with that strategy. At least they seem to have some control. They still haven't capped mid, to be fair. Epic Gaming is still in control, but they do also get their medic a little bit later. Blank is going to be back sooner. Balder trying to stave off whatever he can here, as well as Gallon is very aggressive there, actually. His chances.
I'm so confused. Genuinely, what is happening? Like, I've completely lost track of what is going on all the time. And to be honest, like, I think with good reason, because players are just dropping left and right in these like really aggressive situations. There's players being caught out. Medics have got a shelf life of like, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. Like, it's absolute chaos. Yallen's up on the heavy and forward spawn. I'm not sure they're gonna be too aware of this. He's gonna pop out, and Fancy able to get the trap up in time. Zams as well locked in behind that shutter also is going to mean that traps in second are going to be hard to come by, as actually maybe we're going to get to some sort of relatively regular TF2 programming here, as the Uber is going to be a slight advantage up for the blue side of MANDEM as they start walking their way into the last round. I don't think they're aware of this. They're not setting themselves up for a really early push in, and honestly, who can blame them for not like knowing the ad down to the 20% at this point in the game? Because yeah, we have been in madness mode.
I felt like whenever I try to watch what's going on here and I just start rambling off, I feel like I'm holding like a Joe Biden speech. Like, I feel like I'm role playing as Joe Biden, because I just lose track of what's going on, where I am, what's happening. Okay, there's an Uber on the red side. Theos has been forced, and the Blank did not have to use himself. So they managed to get that out outside of MANDEM. Now they have to make use of their own Uber, though, as they head in onto the far side here. A couple players down for the side of Epic Gaming, starting to make this easier, but they spawners do come in, and they do have to worry about that now. They have little point presence for the time being. They find Bud, they find Yallen. So
the point should be relatively free to cap, right? There's no soldiers to block it. Zambas is going to do what he can, but the pressure is in.
Crafty gets on point with the heavy. Not enough. Simply not enough.
Yeah, really good force there, actually. I think Inzo snuck all the way through wide left and just gets completely behind the point. And because there's like 3 fights happening at the same time, just no one was paying attention, and just like Inzo spots the moment, spots the opportunity, and just slips the net straight through onto the medic. And yeah, there's no way Theos is avoiding a force there. So really nicely played and really nicely recommitted in from MANDEM. So they were 2-0 down, but now they're 3-2 up with 8 minutes left to play. going into this mid fight, and the last few mids have looked pretty good, but this time they're potentially getting locked out of Valley. This is not looking ideal for them. We've got a couple of players caught in, and yeah, half the team don't even get out of Valley. They have to run back, they have to hightail it and give up mid completely, and maybe give up more as well, as everyone's starting to barge their way through. The Funny Spoon is in mid-air from Bud. And the retreat continues from MANDEM. They are all the way back to their own last.
They're bleeding player after player. It's like a disease slowly creeping forward, and they're ravaging the team. Blank actually gets cleaned up in the spawn door as well. You hate to see it if you're rooting for MANDEM. They are in, and they have not been in a worse situation all map. It is a chance. It is a chance for Epic Gaming.
Alert,
and
alert, alert.
Passer?
Inso is on the gas passer. It's getting charged up. Gas passer at 40%. Yes, they're at 90% disad, but they are on 40% gas passer. And he went off it. Are you kidding me? No, get back on the gas passer. I want to see it in action. Come on.
I need to see a pyro surf a reflect rocket, throw a gas passer onto a medic, and then crit with the neon sign. If I ever get to witness that in my lifetime, I will be complete. I will be able to ascend and break the circle of Samsara. It's the only way I'll be able to find inner peace. Unfortunately, for Epic Gaming, they seem to be struggling to find inner peace on this last push, as everybody has died, except Theos and Yalin, who are trying their absolute damnedest to get some cap time down. And to be fair, at least they killed half the team.
Yeah, there's another massive serve from Theos at the end to end on the point, but actually he is just going to delay the inevitable and just delay that spawn by another 10 seconds, unfortunately. It was a good effort. There was a world there, to be fair, where Theos maybe could have got out, but just Haunts is so aware and able to lock the door into the Valley and mean that there is a huge advantage. It's over 100% because Theos hasn't spawned in yet. Yalin on the forward spawn sniper. There's a couple of soldiers getting ready to perhaps go for some bombs, some force plays here onto this midpoint. As Valley is being taken, there's not much pressure yet. There's the sniper to deal with. The bomb comes in finally from Grix. Bud there as well. Yalin's super close too. They have to just slow down for a moment, stave off this wave of aggression that's coming in from the Epic Gaming side. It's been staved off so far pretty well. Theos still at 30% Uber as the sniper back spawns onto the second forward spawn. But this now means that the Uber's still there. 50% add, and they can start walking last. It's all up to Yal. Oh, I thought Yal was going to peek sniper. That would have been pretty huge.
He's opted for the heavy. He's going to back spawn all the way back there, and well, they gotta hang on to this Uber, at least however well they can. Still about 20% to go for Theos, and the cap hasn't just come through on second just yet. Finally, it does. But maybe MANDEM just getting a bit too eager here onto this last push. They lose Boulder. They can't really get much positioning now with that Uber having faded already, and Theos is out of harm's way. The Spoon comes through as well as Inzo gets taken down. Lardox gets taken down. There goes Fancy. It's only Blank left. He's all alone in no man's land, trying to get back from the front line.
Not looking good.
He's getting out to mid at least.
I'm gonna scout friend. Oh, good effort.
There's a chance there, but Grix does get that kill eventually, and here you are. MANDEM back on the back foot, Epic Gaming back in control. Ideally, they wouldn't want to lose this Uber, but with Theos in the situations he finds himself in, frequently, there might be a word to be had with that. There's a good chance that they will struggle to hang with that Uber for long. As I say that, they have been forced.
Yeah, forced with 3 players when Blank's only just spawning up. It's still going to be even and midpoint being taken, so like it's really not a horrendous outcome. Especially if they can deny some of these forwards, but I don't think they're quite going to make it. So they're going to have to get themselves set up here on mid for this potential counter-aggression from MANDEM. And Fancy, just forget the forward spawns. Fancy just already in above the point, trying to deny this as best as he can. Haunts in too, but isn't aware of Yalin in behind. And Yalin just surf the rocket of Haunts all the way around the point and try and land on the medic. That was outrageous behaviour. Doesn't quite work out, but that would have been pretty huge if it did.
That's why we love him. That's why we love him. That's why he does what he does. Anyway, it's gonna be MANDEM back in control. Slight ad for them to work with as well. Player advantage. They've got everything working in their favor to at least try and get into the second point as of right now. The spawners are there though, so they gotta move quickly. They want to make use of whatever times they still have here. Time's running low. They are up around at the end of the day, so it is really down to Epic Gaming to not lose at this point, right? 4 minutes left to get another round. It's possible, but if you're on the back foot like this and Inzo slips in behind and manages to force your medic once more. They do get 2 to clean up with, but
I guess
that's a nice force.
I guess Haunts doesn't know it's going that well because oh, the bomb with the funny spoon. Oh, I thought it was going to be there.
They do get the force at least. It gets the force.
Just the threat of the spoon is a force.
That's what matters. It's all about projecting danger. In that case, you projected enough danger to, get a force out of there, as Lardox manages to just narrowly, with help of his team, kill Theos before laying down his own life. Matter of fact, everybody on Epic Gaming kind of just getting destroyed right now, absolutely demolished. Only Bud and Zam's alive. I'm pretty sure both of them just spawned on
Bud's a
last.
medic.
Oh my god.
I think they might, they're still trying to push their way through into last, but yeah, they're running out of players here on the MANDEM side. Spawner's going to be coming in for Epic Gaming pretty soon. They have capped second, which is something, I suppose, and there's still Rats trying to get into last. Haunch is in. Inso's still just like running around in the lobby trying to find anyone who's on their way through, but with Fancy getting caught out by Grix and the backlines, it's looking pretty damn good in terms of second point going the way of Epic Gaming. There's still plenty of time left, 2 minutes and 40 on the clock. There is time for a attempt to coast to coast. It's not really, I guess, a full-on coast to coast. They've not got the Uber ad that you normally need for it. But there's time left. Inso's a dead player as well, so this is the opportunity they can fly in and potentially go for something huge.
Certainly. It's also what Epic Gaming needs. It is something huge. They are 2 minutes on the clock. They have to equalize as if they want to have another chance. Take it to another golden cap. Can't quite get the spoon that time, Bud, and you can't quite get the rocket either. Blank will live that one. Will stay in this. And matter of fact, just somehow, every time Bud bombs in, his entire team dies. I've noticed this pattern. Whenever Bud bombs in and tries to make a play, no matter whether it works or not, everybody else on his team just dies for some reason.
Yeah, and the worst bit is I'm so focused on watching the Bud bomb that I just don't see the rest of the team dying. I can't even explain how it's happening. But again, another force comes in. Lardox, really nice play there through that far left, gets the force out onto Theos, and it seems for now as if Blank is relatively safe. Fingers crossed. I don't want to Caster's Curse this. I've been doing this quite a lot this game so far, but now with players coming back in, it's 6v5 temporarily with Yarling going down. Crafty is up on the heavy. He's going to try and do what they can to stop this from coming in, but so much ground has been taken before the Uber charge is even used. It's looking fantastic for MANDEM on their way through. Now they're going to jump back across Haunts. Big kill there onto Zambas 2 is going to be taken down by the heavy. There's actually the counter aggression now towards the point. Epic Gaming trying to get themselves back in. The Pyro of Yarlin is up 2. Temporary player advantage still for the MANDEM side, but gotta be getting it working soon, right? The players will be spawning in a couple of seconds. The damage might just be there in time. Lardox lands on the point. Theos has the Ubersaur out. They think it's over. It might. Oh, the drop comes in. Good try.
It's over. Probably would have been over either way, by the way, in that push, considering there's a minute left on the clock. And even if Epic Gaming wins, pulling off a coast-to-coast in 60
that's
seconds.
That's less than TCM time, isn't it? That's like, that's even faster than TCM, so.
The 60-second coast-to-coast is a pipe dream. Not yet achievable. Maybe in the year 21XX we will have reached the point of gaming prowess where we can do that. But for now, unfortunately, it's not possible. And unfortunately for Epic Gaming, they will be losing the finals. MANDEM take him.
What a game.
After a devastating first map, honestly. That was still close, but you know, they kind of got rocked a little bit on that first map. They come back after a grueling Sultry to perform dominantly on Sunshine after stumbling a little bit at the start. And there you go. MANDEM take it. They win the Experimental Cup. Did any of the unlocks help MANDEM achieve this goal? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure I saw like one Market Garden out of Haunts at some point, and that's it. But
yeah,
you know,
like it helped. It certainly helped Epic Gaming more. Like Bud was really loving it. I'm still very, very sad at the moment. Was it Inso and Pyro who swapped off the gas passer?
Yeah,
I was so sad. Like we had to see some gas passer action, but not going to be. And no base jumper either on either of these maps. Again, understandable. I guess what you said, Sultry is the map where you can maybe see it for sort of pushing into last, but when there's snipers up, like it's maybe not the.
Have you ever tried shooting a soldier floating in the skybox with the base jumper as sniper? If that motherfucker is strafing in circles, you will not hit him. So I'm just saying, you should have given it a try at some point. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it would have worked flawlessly or it's a foolish strategy, but I'm just saying there was a chance that it could have potentially worked. Nobody tried it. We'll never know, I guess. You know.
Yeah,
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, I guess it's been interesting data, I suppose. for anyone watching this. If any of the admins are watching it, if not sure what's happening in terms of like, is there going to be a poll or something, or any sort of discussions around perhaps the next ETF12 season and what may or may not be happening with the whitelists. But it's been interesting data to go off. You're sort of seeing the effect that these unlocks have, and I guess from my end, yeah, like we say, like conclusively the base jumper and the gas passer they saw little to no impact. Yes, earlier on in the semi-final we saw a lot of base jumper action, but I think that was because it was kind of a role anyway. They were just using it for fun. But this game is a bit more serious and yeah, a bit more evenly matched. And yeah, the base jumper sort of didn't see too much. I know you feel strongly about the Market Gardener, and I'm sort of inclined to agree a little bit. It's kind of crazy some of the things you can pull off with it. But yeah, Bud had some fantastic moments with that.
It goes to show that again, this is the weird thing, right? And this is gonna make the discussion, especially for the admins, so difficult. Because the player that most prolifically abused the Market Gardener, aka Bud, didn't win the cup, right? So you could argue, well, sure, if you're good with the Market Gardener, it's annoying to play against, and it's definitely not fun to get instantly killed by a soldier who torpedoes himself towards you. But if they don't win, does it matter? If you still play better at the end of the day and you still win regardless, and to be fair, you would be able to use it yourself if you desired. And that's the thing, neither the soldiers really did on the side of Mandem, right?
Yeah,
So,
Horns was running it, but didn't get many opportunities to make good use of it.
the devil's advocate would be, well, evidently the Market Gardener didn't have that much of an impact on the outcome of the game. But I'm not here to have that discussion. It's not
Yeah,
my
that's
job.
not on us. We're just here to present the findings,
Yeah,
and then the
exactly.
people who make the decisions make it. And obviously, I'm sure Twitch chat have got like
We're not
a
doing the
million arguments.
research. We're just doing the field research. We're doing the gathering of the data. So.
Yeah. Someone else can sit down and analyze it and crunch the numbers and speak to the players individually and such. But I've got to say, it's been good fun. It's been refreshing, right?
Yeah.
And it's been, I don't know, I'd be interested to see if there's any plans to have any things like this between seasons in the future, because it's cool. Obviously, there's map test cups you see occasionally, but like whitelist test cups are like not a thing we see as often. So yeah, it's a really cool idea, because there's a lot of unlocks that are like currently banned, where you're sort of thinking in these situations where it's like, are they really like that good? Or are they banned because they were banned like so many years ago and things like that? And that's like discussions that cups like this existing are basically saying, right, well, admins might be open to that sort of discussion happening. So yeah, I think it's really cool, and I hope everyone watching this has enjoyed it as well, because I certainly have, and we were kind of treated, to be fair, in the final. that was a really like back and forth, exciting final. But
Yeah.
and that's all from me. So I had a great time.
Yeah, I've got nothing else to add as well. If you're seeing the Market Gardener next season and you didn't want to play it with, well, I don't know who you can blame, honestly. I guess you can always take it out on the admins, right? They wanted it to be in there. Look, supposedly, I was told this. Supposedly, the Market Gardener wasn't even initially planned to be a part of the weapons tested in this experimental cup. It was insistent upon by the ETF2 admins that we would try it out. They desperately wanted to have data on it, so I guess they'll make use of whatever they can with it. And
Well, they've got 3 drops in 10 minutes of data,
yeah,
so that's
if
something
that's
to
if
go
that's
off.
all they need, that's all they need.
But yeah, I guess apart from that, we'll sign off. There's going to be Prem qualifiers in like a week and a bit, or is it next week even? I can't even remember. Season's flying upon us. I keep thinking in my head season's 4 months away, and I've been thinking season's 4 months away for the
Summer's
past
over,
3
bro.
months. Summer is
Summer's
over.
over.
It's September. It's raining all day outside. We've had barely any sunlight. Summer is over. It's going to be autumn season soon, and we're sure to hope to welcome you all back to here for Prem qualifiers and Prem. So, yep. See you all later, and we'll sign off for now.
See ya.